say yeah.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Tilton the Scales. I'm your host, Nathan Logan. I'm coming to you from the Lone Star Studios in Austin, Texas. All right. Let's get on with this
Oh God.
episode. We're going to start and talk about the one, the only, Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend. No, that's not really the topic that we're going to discuss. We are going to discuss, however, the implications of him signing a deal to be the coach at UNC down in North Carolina. So
Oh,
uh,
he froze.
we already went through pleasantries. We don't need to do that. We got friend of the show Jose with us this week. You already know Chet and Wally are here. So let's get right into it. So basically, we all saw the news. Bill Belichick, he was going back and forth. He interviewed for UNC. Man, I'll be honest with you. I thought it was not, I didn't think there was too much seriousness to it. I didn't think that he was really interested in the job until, interested in interviewing. If they're going to pay for him to fly out there, he'll take a couple days on their dime, bend his ear for a little bit, get his thoughts on a bunch of things about football and how to run an organization. But I didn't think that there was any seriousness to it. And then, he spends 5 hours with him, and next thing we know, he's signing a 5-year contract. So I think the implications of this, one, there's two things that I want to point out to you guys, and then I'll ask you a question. I really thought that, probably just like everybody else that talks about the NFL, I thought that, breaking the record, Don Shula's wins record, was something that maybe personally he wanted to accomplish. Like it's not something that he ever started coaching and was on the bucket list about. But I think that at this point, through his career and what he's accomplished, like it's achievable. So let's go ahead and do it. It seems like that doesn't seem to be the case. And now I guess we'll see if he gets named to the NFL Hall of Fame. Like, they usually don't let people in that they think are going to come back and coach or play, right? So, coach, I think, only needs to be out of the game for 1 year to be considered eligible for the Hall of Fame ballot. So, and judging by what he said in his press conference, he wants to. He didn't take the job to leave, is what he said, his exact words. And then the second thing is, like, I think that he can do a lot of good things at that level, but at the same time, we've all seen, his lack of patience with rookies. Player development is a great thing, but he has a certain rapport with younger players, at least at the NFL level. So if he can temper that down, that might be something, that in his older age he just wants to coach, right? But I say that to say it seems like a college coach should want to better the lives of every person that's on their staff, every person that's on their roster. And I feel like this move with the certain things that are put in the contract, it's a move to better the life of one person, one young man, and that's his son. Setting him up for success. That doesn't mean that he can't, through that, go help others, but it just seems a little off-putting to me that he would have those things in his contract. But with that being said, I do have a question. I posed a couple questions, and if you guys have questions and you want, to go around the room, around the horn, and have us all comment, that's fine too. But my question is,
hold on, look. You just said three really big things that I think we need to respond to before you get into questions. Because first of all, and it's hard to keep it in order, but you talked about his contract initially, and I think that one of the important clauses that you did.
I don't mean to interrupt, Wally, but there's these a pen and some paper. You can write things down.
Okay, if that's what you want me to do, I'll go ahead. Please, no, go ahead. Go ask your questions.
No, go. I'm saying it's hard to keep. You said it's hard to keep track. I'm helping you gain tools and assets to keep track.
Thank you. I think that You talked about his contract, both in relation to the clause about his son and in relation to kind of him going from, I think he wants to coach next year, right? And to me, this is a safety clause. I don't know if you read the clause about him having he's got a $10 million buyout until June 1st or June 25th, and then a $1 million buyout. So it's not even in this. I mean, if there's an NFL team that wants him, $1 million will not prevent them from getting him, right? So keep that in mind. And also, I think that this is a safety net for him. He wants to coach. First and foremost, he's a football coach, and this is. And from a UNC perspective, why wouldn't you want the greatest coach of all time? Who was talking about UNC football before this?
Nobody.
Right? Like this puts them on the map. This is a huge deal. They've got the biggest coach in football currently. And finally, about what you said about him being a hard ass. I think that he and Saban are virtually carbon copies of each other, right? In terms of how they approach the game. They're both very hard on their personnel. And you can't argue with Saban's results, right? He did it for a long time, right up until when he retired. He was an effective college coach. And I've got no reason to believe Belichick, who comes from a coaching family, I mean, he comes from a college coach. He grew up in the college system, in a hard-ass system. I feel like this has got all the earmarkings of success. And again, from UNC, you have some longevity. So you put in Belichick for a year or two and go transition right to his son. I don't see that being a bad thing. I think it's a good thing.
Well, to
making their lucky stars.
To ask a question about something that you said, and I'll let Jose answer this if he can. You said that Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, they're like from the same tree. They're birds of the same flock. They, hands in hand, they're clones of each other, right? Just a different.
I think they're very similar, right?
Yes. My question would be, when Nick Saban walked away from Alabama, Bill Belichick was unemployed. Why wasn't Alabama's first phone call to Bill Belichick? Jose, do you?
Well, I would say the reason his first call wasn't there is Bill Belichick was going to go somewhere where he had control, where he was basically. There's only one guy at UNC who can call him up and give him any kind of grief or question, and that's Michael Jordan. Period.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're absolutely right.
And so if he goes to Alabama, and I hate to say this, there's nothing else in Alabama. There's no pro sport. Alabama football is it. So all those boosters, all those fans, they're going to be insufferable for him. That's not who he is. He wants to have control. He wants to be able to control the media. He wants to be able to do this. So Alabama, they may have reached out, but he's just like, no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't need that. Plus, he also looks at, you take a Bill Belichick, hey, I'm going to the ACC, which I don't have to have the dogfight that I'm going to have in the SEC. It's very winnable. So, again, SMU came in and was very successive. So
yes, it's definitely one of the weaker Power Fives. Yeah,
and you sit down and look at the guy, and I think he likes the East Coast. Chapel Hill's not far from the ocean. He can get his little boat out, and
he can drive his houseboat down there. Yeah.
And hey, there's hot chicks in North Carolina. I spent a lot of time there, and he might trade in his 24-year-old for a 22-year-old. You never know. But no, I just think that he's going to get more of what he wants, because he wants to control the program, build it his way, do it his way, have the final say in a lot of things. He wouldn't have gotten that at Alabama at all, ever. And to go back to look at when you say, well, Saban is from Belichick's tree. He was he was at Cleveland with him.
Yes, he was.
And you look at, if you go and look at that staff he had in Cleveland, so many of them went on to be successful coaches elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think, but yeah, Bill Belichick, I thought that he would have went back to the Giants, but I think since the Giants haven't fired their coach, he's like, well, I got to do something for a little while. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I only asked the question because, again, one, if you're reaching out, if you're in a position where you have an opening, let's say you're a head coach and you take over for a professional team. We'll use the NFL as an example. You're a head coach and or a GM and you take over a team that doesn't have a quarterback. I would think your game plan would be to get on the phone with Andy Reid and the guy that runs the Chiefs and say, hey, is Patrick Mahomes tradable? What do you guys want for him? They might laugh at you, but like that's the asset that you want to have, right? And you like shoot for the moon, but if or shoot for the stars, but if you hit the moon, you're out of this world, right? Like so, if somebody wants the greatest coach of all time to be on their staff, to be in their building, I would think that one, they're going to put that out there, and it should be out there as, hey, we interviewed for this, and we know specifically that last year of the 7 openings, he only interviewed for the Atlanta job, and there was, certain rumors as to why he didn't get that job. But my question again is, why was there no interest in the NFL, especially this year after they fire a couple coaches, right, mid-season, and then when we also look at that, it's a 3 to 4 year lifespan average for a head coach. Like it's a position that you go into. Everyone's looking for the next Bill Belichick, the guy that can establish a dynasty, the guy that will build a program from ground one, create a coach. And this guy has already done it. What if you look at use the Jets, use the Jacksonville Jaguars, probably pick any other team. There aren't too many teams in the league that you'd say, I'll take the last 4 years that we just had over 4 years that possibly one of the greatest coaches of all time could give us. And again, he's not that old to the point where you can't expect that he can give you 3 to 4 years, right? So everybody talks about like, well, we don't know how long he wants to coach. Like, 3 years is a drop in the bucket to this dude in his lifespans and all of us as well. And it takes at least 3 years to build that culture and rapport. So again, my question to you, Chet, is why was there not any interest from the NFL?
I can give you that. Number one, Jose, I cannot let you ruin the good goddamn name of Bill Belichick by saying that he was afraid of competition. That guy is not afraid of competition. He runs towards it. He fucking nuclear bombs it. He's all over it. Now, let me ruin the good goddamn name of Bill Belichick with my answer. So, I think he's a human being. I was watching we'll talk about it later, but the starting 5, and Jimmy Butler was like, we're just humans. We're just humans. And I was like, okay. So if you think about Bill Belichick, there's truth. He's dating a 24-year-old. Facts or not facts? I just want to make sure everyone's with me here.
Yes, but it's 2024. Next year he's going to upgrade to the 2025 model, and it'll be a different one.
But facts or not facts? He's dating a 24-year-old.
Yes, facts. Yeah,
okay.
He's vibing. So, he's vibing.
And all of us have been with women that make us feel a certain way, and it changes the way we think. Fact or not fact?
Fact. Yes.
Okay. So my thinking is, and it's so simple and so stupid, no one wants to see it. But I think he's like going to college because like he's with her, he feels young, he feels vibrant. Like I can do this, and I'm going to be amazing. And by the way, I think he actually will. I think his skill set is going to be really good for the college game. Go ahead, Wally.
I can't believe you just made an argument that Belichick made this decision because he's horny. Like, come on.
I didn't say he was horny.
4 years old. He comes from a military background. Like his
Wally, you know that if they do that hawk tour on that thing, it changes your perspective on things, man.
And when I was 22, I would have made decisions according to that. At 74, I'd like to think that there's other things driving him.
You shouldn't like to think that.
Maybe I'm wrong.
No. Still a man. The guy's still a man. He's still a man, and he's still very much under the influence of his significant other. And he chose a significant other who's 24, so I can easily see, like, I don't need to get the NFL record. I just need to get over there.
Yeah.
No, I still think he wants the NFL record. I still think that buyout clause is very telling. $10 million to $1 million in less than a year, in 6 months. It drops from $10 million to $1 million. Why would that be other than he wants to go back to the NFL? Right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I see that. I see that too, Wally. I'm just trying to make you mad. Did I make you mad?
And also, fuck Don Shula. I want to take that asshole's record too. Like, fuck Don Shula. Fuck that whole undefeated team. What was that running back's name? That comes
Mercury
out.
Morris. Mercury Morris.
Mercury fucking Morris. I hate that guy.
You don't need to hate him anymore, Wall. He's dead.
He's dead. He died.
Hey, Chad, I'm going to tell you this.
Die with death.
Hey, I'm going to tell you this.
Jose.
I didn't say he went to the AFC because he was scared of talent. He said it's like going to the AFC East. He knew he was going to win 6 games a year for 20 years.
God damn it, Jose.
Hey, so that's not. He didn't go to the AFC North. He didn't go to the West. He went to the East with the misfit Jets, the Buffalo Bills, who you know are going to choke. They find a way to lose when it counts. And you sit down, and the Miami Dolphins have been a train wreck. I mean, they were a train wreck when Shula was there. They were just like dragging him around. He was like a carcass. He was like Weekend at Bernie's with him. Hey, we're just going to parade him out here, win a couple games, and pretend that we care. And they haven't cared about winning legitimately in forever. Because if they were really, when he was there, if they were really interested in winning, they'd have traded Marino when Jimmy Johnson got there and rebuilt that thing. Let Jimmy Johnson rebuild it, and they did. So
Bill Belichick not scared of shit.
I'm not saying he's scared. I'm saying he's a wise man.
Yeah.
What is the path of least resistance? I can go to the ACC, win 10, 11 games, get to the playoffs, have a good run, and then win a national title. Now he joins Jimmy Johnson and a couple other coaches who have Super Bowl rings, and oh, by the way, he has a college national championship.
Yeah.
How many coaches can say that? So now he goes in. He's going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame. He'll be in the NFL Hall of Fame. Then he can leave UNC, go back, and then destroy Shula's record and go, I might not have got the undefeated season.
He's not young, Jose. You know that, right? Like, he's not that young.
But he only needs 2 years. Again, college football, the way
he could do it in one season with the Dallas Cowboys.
Good. Yeah, because that's what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to go to Dallas. That's what I thought.
But think about it. One year in college, 2 years in college, you say 2 years, with the NIL money and the way kids are transferring, all that stuff, he can bring in a lot of talent quickly. He can turn around quickly. Most of those college coaches are not on his level mentally. So
no.
He's going to
None of them. Zero of them are on his level.
But it comes down to it's the NIL money, though, right?
Yeah. And he went to a place that has the same amount of money as Alabama, Texas, and all that. UNC
they got Jordan money, man.
You know what I mean?
They do.
So, I'm sorry. If I'm going to go, why would I want my team to get beat up and have to go to a dogfight?
God damn it.
When I can go,
Nate, let me ask you this. How much of a factor do you think it is? Because Alabama's not going to give him that legacy clause about his son, right? The SEC team,
they're not. None of them. Absolutely
not going to give him that legacy clause about his son. UNC did. How much of a factor do you think that was in his decision?
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. It's absolutely. He was like, I want my son to be a head coach, and I'm going to get him set up, and I'm going to do, he's like, this is all about, setting up my son.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the best choice for your son, because he'll always be seen as like your son, and you said he's a boy.
Think about it like this: your dad is an NFL legend. Your dad's an NFL legend. If you can go to college,
I agree,
make a good run. Now all of a sudden, it's a different animal. It's like Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow's a legend. Legend.
Yep.
I mean, the guy, and he was solid in the NFL. He wasn't horrible. I think he got a bad rap, but
you want to play a game with Denver?
But he went. Yeah, he beat my Steelers. I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shit, sorry.
But no, it's okay. But that's just because when he got let go by Denver, I wanted him to come to Pittsburgh because I thought, man, on 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, we could take Ben out, bring him in. Now we got run pass options. We're going to get more. Ben's going to be able to rest, not take hits. I wanted it. I wanted him in Pittsburgh. I thought he would have been a great, backup quarterback.
Actually, that would have been good. Yeah.
But it didn't happen. But the thing is, when you look at Tebow's legacy in college, you look at Tommy Frazier's legacy in college. Nobody disputes how their greatness because they were great. And so, I think if you're a college coach, nobody really disputing how great a coach Nick Saban is, even though in NFL he was, You know what I mean? So
he killed it for Miami.
No, I definitely think that the part that Bill will excel at is the transactional part of college football now, the NIL money and the non-contract. I think that he may have a hard time trying to figure that out, but the fact that again he's the guy that is always finding a way to move on from somebody a year before everyone else figures out that they should move on from him, and transactionally he's good at turning over a roster to improve the team. So when in that aspect he doesn't have that asset available in college, as in trading this for that commodities, but he has the transfer portal available to gain assets instead of giving away assets to gain assets. And I think he'll be very good at like getting everyone to buy in and give the why, and then also having frank conversations like, hey, these are the things that we wanted you to do, and this is why you didn't play. Now you can go into the transfer portal and go somewhere else, but they're probably not going to expect these things of you, and we want you to stay. And you should also know we're going to find somebody that's going to compete with you as well from the transfer portal. But we still think that you have the ability to beat out that person. But we're only bringing in more iron to sharpen iron. And I think he can be a good motivator depending on his message. I also think if he brings in, if you look at it from a perspective of, all right, yes, he already stated he wants to build an NFL program at the college level. I don't think that you can go into a bunch of, you're still going to have kids that are not on the same level intellectually about football. So there's going to be a huge learning curve if Bill Belichick brings in his playbook day one and starts telling everybody this is how it's going to be. It's got to be. I feel like it's got to be dumbed down, not football for dummies, but there's got to be some things schematically.
I will tell you that to that, Nate. I think that he's very good at making his schemes fit his talent.
Yeah.
He understood when, hey, I don't have great deep threats. He killed you with a thousand cuts. And then he brought Randy Moss in, and then he let loose. He's just like, hey, here you go. And he allowed for the greatness of people and say, hey, this is what Randy does great. Let's change to that. He's very good at that. He's very flexible with his talent. He always has been. He brought in guys. I remember Mike Vrabel left. Vrabel was his when he played in Pittsburgh, was a solid linebacker, but he didn't fit the mold of what we were looking at for his position. But when he went to New England, he moved his schemes to fit Vrabel's skill set, and the rest is history. So you sit down and you look. I think that's where the NIL makes it so much more like the NFL, which gives him the advantage over college coaches, one. Yeah. And two, he is a very great at adapting his schemes to his talent. And I think that's where he can say, well, you know what? This is what I got. He can assess it and say, this is what I got, and go, well, you know what? We're not going to hit the bomb all the time. My quarterback, I can do this, this, and this. And he's very good at that. He's always been good at that. And he's a defense first guy. So he's like, your job as a quarterback when Tom Brady was young was don't fuck it up.
The part I look at it a little bit differently because, he's good with the product on the field, right? Like once you ultimately get the players in the field, the final 72 or however many there are in college, he's good with that product. He wasn't always good with like the GM responsibilities. And I think the degree to where the NAL changes college isn't necessarily about talent. It's about marketability, right? Where the players who are getting the most NAL money aren't necessarily the best players. They're the ones who've got the best name or that they can think they can make the most money off. And I think that's the problem, is because it's very much a superstar kind of look at me mentality. And if I go to USC or if I go to Notre Dame and make more money or make a bigger name for myself, I'm going to jump at that. He doesn't pander to things like that. He doesn't buy into things like that. And I think the NIL, to me, maybe if I misunderstand it, but is all more about marketability necessarily than it is necessarily about talent.
Well, I think for players, it's more marketability. For coaches, at the end of the day, it's about talent. You have to win. But I think where he's going to have what's going to help in college versus the pros is he's going to be able to hire. They don't really have the limits like the NFL will. They're going to be like, hey, we got a guy who's out here scouting NIL. We had a guy who's scouting high schools in this region and another guy in this region. He's going to have all these people basically doing the scouting for him. So he doesn't have to. So he doesn't really need to be the general manager as much. He's just going to say, I want this, this, and this guy. Bring me who you think fits. He'll go over and review and then say, okay, I want to focus. I think that's where, if he's smart, that's what he'll do. In the NFL, you're kind of trying to pick, and again, watching 19 guys, when you're in an NFL season, this, that, and the other, it's hard. I've never agreed with a coach being a GM because it's just too much. Because as a GM, you're trying to look to the future. A coach, you're looking to now. And the dual hat thing, I've never seen it work. But I think he's a smart.
Parcells would disagree. And I would say it worked for many years for Bill Belichick before he fucked it up.
Before he got half those rings, he had to listen to somebody. There was a GM, and he would share thoughts. You know what I mean? And again, it goes back to having the right people in a room with you. It was like when Dallas did all their drafting. Jimmy Johnson had his 4 people who were like, "Hey, these are my guys, and if they say he's the guy, I'm going to go with."
Yeah.
And that's where I think Bill will say, "Hey, I trust these guys. These are guys going to go out and tell me who the talent is." But I agree with Wally. The NIL, it's about marketability, and UNC has such a big reach. Chapel Hill. Everybody knows Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Everybody knows that's Tar Heel blue. I don't care what coast you're on.
Everyone knows that.
You can go overseas and go, "Oh, that's Tar Heel blue."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's definitely. I think part of what will make Bill Belichick successful at Chapel Hill, if he decides to stay there, is the fact that he will have a number of people over him, under him, that are going to handle the majority of things that he shouldn't do and probably at his age doesn't want to do. Like, he's not going to go and sit in somebody's house on their couch and say, "Hey, we want your son to come play for UNC." Like, yeah, that's just not going to happen. And he's going to have guys. He's going to have guys that are on the recruiting trail for him. He's going to have guys that are in the transfer portal, eyeballing every individual that's going into the transfer portal, that wants to go into the transfer portal. He might even have guys. Since we're on he is a habitual line stepper when it comes to rules, right? So, and there are no rules to govern anything. So he could have part of his recruiting people, throwing DMs at individuals that they want to enter the transfer portal so that they can get them to UNC once they see the product on the field post high school. I think that there's definitely some value to him if he allows the other people to do what they have already been doing somewhat successfully, or at least put those people in that position. The case in point to that is, first person he hired was Mike Lombardi as the general manager of the football program there at UNC. So he's already understanding, or at least showing us that he understands, like, this is an organization that's going to take all of the people to run it. And if he's going to focus on coaching, like, obviously I think that's going to just help everyone and benefit everyone from that, because it's just.
Did I mention, Nate? I'm sorry. I'm making sure my memory is correct. Did I mention that the fact that he has a 24-year-old girlfriend might have influenced this decision? Did I bring that up?
You're starting
to influence it. I think Wally is taking it the wrong way and in different contexts. I think I know what you mean by, like, you're feeling more fruitful, you're feeling more youthful.
Yes, like, exactly.
Your mind is open to things that you didn't really. The flowers are prettier. The sky is bluer.
Yeah, the sky's bluer. Everything's wonderful. Like, he's the honeymoon period.
It has nothing to do with sex drive, Wally. It's just that you're full of life.
Sex drive. Not sex drive.
More like I stand by my statement.
I mean, we might see him on a commercial for the Blue Pill somewhere. Say what?
You're shortchanging him. If you think he hasn't thought out he presented them with a 400-page plan for the
yeah. Well, that is college girlfriend wrote.
His college girlfriend wrote.
Yeah, she probably did.
That's too far.
She probably did.
That's too far. That's just funny though. That's funny.
It's fine. That's fine.
So do we think this is going to be a successful endeavor for Bill Belichick?
In all honesty, I do. I think that like if you are like our age, where we are right now, you got a kid who's really good. I'm telling you right now, Cameron, play for Bill Belichick or whoever else. Bill Belichick. So I think a lot of parents will steer their kids towards Bill Belichick and let them know that he's not going to be nice, he's not going to be good. But if you want to be the best, go play for this guy. So I do think there's a real good chance it works out well. And I'll end with that.
I worry about the money, right? NIL in the transfer portal has changed everything. So it's not just the system and plug a smart guy at the top of the ladder. Like I'd like to think that's the case, but it's not. It's all about money in transfer. We'll know. I think we'll know in the next couple of months based on the transfer portal and NIL and who's signing and if he could flip any major recruits. But I have concerns. I have concerns.
See that?
I think it'll be a successful endeavor, and I'm with Wally. The NIL it's a wild card, but I also think that, like when Indiana brought their guys in, they brought their quarterback in, flipped their whole program overnight through the transfer portal, and that coach is good, but he's not Bill Belichick. The only thing is, can these kids handle? He's going to be brutally honest. And so. Like, I'm with you, though, Chet. If I have a kid and he's really uber talented, I'm going to be like, even if you only experience 2 years of him, those 2 years are going to be 2 years of knowing what it's like to be at the show. And so, even if you transfer out, you're going to go, okay, this is what it takes to get to the show. And you're going to find out quickly whether you belong. So,
hell yeah.
Do you think Bill Belichick's first phone call after he took the UNC job was to Peyton Manning about Arch Manning? Hey, Peyton, what's up with your nephew? What do you think?
Maybe. Honestly, maybe.
Why not?
Because
I would. That's what I would do. I'm a competitive guy. The first thing I would do in that situation.
But when you're dealing with the Mannings, Peyton and Eli and all them, for all the hype they had, Eli actually outproduced Peyton. Peyton kind of lucked into the situation with Denver. Peyton had one Super Bowl with the Colts and a lot of failures. But he was like that Steve Spurrier called him the three. He's like, oh, as long as I'm here at Florida, he's going to be the MVP of the Citrus Bowl, 3-time MVP of the Citrus Bowl. He couldn't beat Florida. Peyton Manning, but he got so much hype and so much love. Bill Belichick is up until Tom got, the 5th, 6th ring. Tom was, he was down there kissing the rings to Bill Belichick too. So he kind of like, hey, so to me, Belichick's not going to beg a man. What he's going to do is go find that kid like Dylan Gabriel, who's kind of under the radar, but is really good and really smart and say, hey, you want to come here and get some shine and get a shot at the show? Come here, And I think that's who he really wants.
100%. Well said. I agree. He's not going to get the superstar. I feel like Arch Manning's already got his path to the NFL. He's got what does he have? He doesn't need Belichick as much as a guy and I don't know college, an up-and-comer whose name is not as recognizable as Arch Manning. I think I personally think that's a foolish way to look at it because I think Peyton, like if you put a guy with like Peyton's talent under a coach like Bill Belichick, oh my God! I mean, again, we've seen what happened with.
It's so good.
Oh yeah.
So good. do you think Arch? Let's play this out. Also, do you think Arch Manning? Let's say he stays at Texas, has the same identical season as Quinn Ewers does this year. Is he the number 1 overall pick when he wants to come out of the draft? I don't think he is, but I think if he goes and plays under somebody like Bill Belichick, who still has NFL acumen, who coaches would come to and ask, hey, what do you think about this guy? Truly, honestly, like better than Tom Brady. I mean, he probably wouldn't ever say that, but if if Bill Belichick is backing somebody, that's gonna that just takes it to not a whole nother level, but it'll at least get somebody from a top 5 pick to number 1, right? Or like if they're out of the top 10 into the top 10, because everybody's going to be talking to him about, because they know how meticulous he is about how talent transitions from college to the NFL. Like he's done several studies with professionals in special forces operations as well about how do we translate the need, the want to be part of a team and to do as much as you can for the team, and then also have individual success. And like, I just think if I'm Bill Belichick, my first phone call is I need to go find a quarterback, number 1. So is it to Arch Manning? What first? It's probably to Michael Jordan. Hey, how much can we actually give this young man? And then now that I have a dollar amount in mind, hey, Arch, how are you? How are you today? This is Coach Bill Belichick. Oh, you saw me on the Pat McAfee show. Oh, that's cool. You know, like I really enjoy Pat. He's a funny guy. Hey, I just want to let you know, the transfer portal's still open, and can we get you on campus? Can we talk to you about a visit? What do you think? I mean, that would be my phone call. Maybe not the first one, but there's several of those that should take place.
I would say Bill Belichick's going to build that line first. So if anything, he's going to call Arch Manning's offensive linemen at Texas and steal them. Arch Manning.
Well, they're all seniors. They're all seniors.
But I'm saying some of the guys who rotated, or even the defensive line, he might just steal defensive line. But you look at Bill, Manning is a Manning. The NFL is for better, for worse, they are enamored. They in love with the Mannings. Eli was an average player. He had 2 good playoff runs, and really he had 1 decent playoff run, but he was surrounded by amazing defenses.
I feel bad. I feel bad, Jose, that Eli was in the 2007 Super Bowl when they canceled that. I feel bad about that.
Well, but he didn't. He only have to score 17 points to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, you're probably not the guy, but because your name is Manny, you're getting the MVP. You know what I mean?
I'm interested to see what Belichick does as a coach. Is he going to bring his system to college and then do like he did in the pros and just find guys that fit his system? You would assume so.
Yeah.
So if that's his mentality, like Jose was saying, he's going to build offensive line. He's going to build defensive line. He's going to stalk the defense, and he's going to do a ball control until he can find a quarterback that can run a certain way. He's not going to go after.
He has no time though. Like this is where I'm worried. I would love to see him succeed. I love Bill Belichick. I love me some Bill Belichick. How do you do that when the guys are gone in 3 years?
NIL. Every team is under this, and every single team is under the same parameters you are. So you're not facing a 10-year veteran. You're facing a guy that's been there for 3 years. So if you have a system that's you can plug the guys, you can spend the money, and you can jump from team to team. You like somebody better at, like, you look at one of those mid-majors, say, hey, that guy's good. He's going to rather come play for me than stick at San Jose State or whoever.
Mind blown. So what you're saying is, if I go to UNC, because Bill Belichick is there, I make more money.
The NFL. It's a pipeline to the NFL. You go to the system. The NFL.
Capitalism. I get it.
Think about it. Saban got his model from Belichick, so everybody's going to assume, well, hey, Saban was putting guys in the NFL left and right. So Bill Belichick, the same thing. Then you add in the fact college is a lot easier because you only have to beat 3 or 4 good teams, and then the rest are kind of as long as I don't beat myself, you know what I mean?
I don't understand college football. I just don't.
It's it worse. Do you know how pissed off people are that now that you don't have why book tough teams out of conference, right? If you can just go undefeated and stay in conference and you still get a high seed and you get in the playoffs, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I mean, and so you sit down, you look at some of the, like Texas. Who did Texas really play this year?
Yeah,
they played Georgia. They played Georgia twice and Texas A&M, who was solid but not great. That's their resume, and they lost the 2 games they played against a real when you say a legitimate team.
They lost to the backup quarterback at Georgia. legitimately.
Yeah. They lost twice.
They didn't do too well.
And
yeah.
you know, and again, the first time was at home. So when you look at Texas, Texas really didn't play anybody, and the SEC gave them a soft schedule. And guess what? They're strolling right in. So you sit down and you look and say, I'm in the ACC. I've got to beat Virginia Tech, Pitt, Louisville. If I can get a decent run of it, and I guarantee you that the ACC wants Bill Belichick. His schedule, he's not getting the best of the best there anymore. He's going to get to Maryland. He's going to get these crappy teams, and so then he's going to have to maybe beat Clemson once, maybe SMU, and SMU's good, but they're not a powerhouse. You know what I mean? So when you look, they're gonna bet. If they're smart, they're gonna do what they need to do and put him in the right position. And I'm with Wally. The NIL changed everything.
Well, fair enough. So we're all gonna be at Wally's house. This is my thought. All of us, Wally's house. First time Bill Belichick coaches North Carolina. We are there.
For that game. That game will be on primetime.
It'll be Saturday primetime.
Think about Saturday primetime. Think about all the money that he just brought. If he stays for this year, like every game that UNC has will be on primetime.
He's gonna be on TV. He's gonna be on
much money for that institution that he just created. Like I hope it works out. I think it will, but I mean it's not gonna. It is gonna be. I mean. Deion Sanders, I'm not saying we can't compare those two, right? Deion Sanders has only been coaching college football for a couple years.
Not even close.
Deion Sanders comes into Colorado and he literally turned that entire roster over. Like he literally fired every person that wore the uniform prior to that and played in the last year. He literally fired all of them except for like 12 people, and then he brought in everybody else. Like they weren't as successful as they were hyped up to be, but like that is an easy thing. And I also think that like it wasn't easy to do. I'm sure Deion Sanders would probably say he worked his ass off to do that, but that's what Bill Belichick and his staff will have to do. But I think that because it's Bill Belichick, they will get, the top 4.5 5-star recruits that want to move or decommit and then come in. And also you'll get your pick of the litter from the mid-major conferences, the 5-star athletes that now we've seen on the field that developed from the 3-star to a 5-star. And they're ready to move up and play with the top tier athletes. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting. I'm excited to see it, to be honest. I still feel like he did, definitely set his son up with a nice sweet gig.
Why wouldn't you?
And of course, I think any of us would want to do that for our kids, right? If we can. I hope his intention. I hope his intention is to truly better the lives, which he said. But actions speak a lot louder than words. If he's just saying this, and then again, it's already written in the contract. If he leaves, the contract doesn't go away as far as his son taking over. It's just his out to go back to the NFL, right? So, but it seems like he wants to be there. So I'm excited to see. Like Jose said, it's a weaker conference for sure. It's like the AFC North. I mean, but Bill Belichick saw two different organizations, which were the Browns and the Jets, and saw that they were both dumpster fires and got out of both of them very quickly. So,
to be fair, the Browns,
he's a very smart man.
The Browns did what the Browns do, and they got rid of him.
Yeah. Great on the cost. Great.
And the irony is they got rid of him after winning.
True.
I think he won 10 games and went to the playoffs with Tim Couch.
Yeah, that is true.
He beat the Patriots. He beat the Patriots in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you beat the Patriots with Tim Couch, and you get fired. How's that possible? Only the Browns could do that.
Only the Browns.
And then
maybe the Jets could do it too. So,
they do continuously.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, he's a smart guy.
it is crazy again to me to think that there isn't more interest from the NFL because again, if you take the worst years of Bill Belichick that you look at are post Tom Brady, and it's the COVID year where we would have gone to the playoffs if it wasn't for Cam Newton getting COVID, and then the next 2 years after that were Mac Jones, and rookie year he went to the playoffs, and then terrible year after that, but he still had a competitive team on the field. And there's no franchise other than the Kansas City Chiefs, potentially the Philadelphia Eagles right now that wouldn't sign up for that 3 years of that, at a minimum.
I agree.
I don't understand why the Chicago Bears are not calling that guy and wanting to sit down with them and have an interview.
Because they don't want to win.
I can tell you that. Because what's the flashy hire now? It's that 35-year-old offensive coordinator.
The whiz-bang offensive coordinator.
The whiz-bang offensive coordinator. The new hot thing, the new up-and-comer. It's a broken way of looking at things. But I've got to assume that Bill Belichick, this is the part that I'm struggling with. I've got to assume he's done his due diligence because there's going to be a whole bunch of NFL jobs available. And I would assume, again, that he would be a major candidate in multiple of those jobs. It doesn't make sense. And I've also got to assume that he would have done his due diligence in regards to interest levels from various teams because it's not hard to predict what jobs are going to be available. So that's the part that I struggle with. I've got if he had wanted to come back to the NFL, I think he'd have his opportunity.
Again, where does he want to go? Do you want to go to Jacksonville? That management, that ownership. I think you go to
Dallas.
Dallas is my thought.
Again, Dallas, you don't want to compete with the owner for the mic. You don't want to compete for the owner for the locker room because the owner undermines the coach by letting the players come to his office and gripe about the coach. Where Robert Kraft will tell him, hey, unless you're Tom Brady, you can't come in here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jerry Jones is like, hey, you're
started.
You know what
I mean? Ending his career where it started in New York.
That honestly, I thought that's what he was going to do. I thought he was going to go back to the Giants.
Yeah.
But the Giants haven't really gotten rid of their coach yet. And I think he didn't want to wait. I think he's like, if you're not going to commit to me now, then I'm not going to wait around. But like you said, he has that clause that drops in 6 months to $1 million. The Giants can afford $1 million. So again, if say next year they let that coach sit out one more year, he's having a bad year, they fire him and they call Bill Belichick, he'll be back to the Giants. I would love to see him back in New York.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be great at it. He understands the city and the city understands him and and it was just one of those things. I sit down. There's probably one of the only teams he would want to go back to. Why would you want to go Chicago? Dumpster fire. Ownership is dumpster fire.
You get talent. There's some talent in Chicago, at least, right?
What's that?
There's a fan base that wants the right
thing. I think there's some talent in Chicago. I think
there is. But again, think about it. Justin Fields went 7-9 last year.
Yeah.
And they bailed on him instead of saying, hey, you know what? Let's draft some linemen because he's shown he's progressing. Let's draft some linemen. Let's do this. They blew it up. Let guys go. And now they're starting from scratch again. Bill Belichick's like, wait a minute, you were 7-9 with a guy who's 22 years old, and you threw him into the fire, and he wasn't horrible. So he comes in, and it's like, so is this what you want to deal with? No. You want to go somewhere where you got stability.
That's a situation, though, when you land the first pick with supposedly a generational quarterback in Caleb Williams, right? That's ultimately the factor that drove Justin Fields out more than anything. Now, whether he is or not is open for debate, but that was the storyline.
I agree with you.
Yeah, he's definitely Caleb Williams is definitely a generational talent. Like
I don't agree with that. I don't think he's generational. I don't.
Nothing to suggest that's the case.
Even in college when he played at Oklahoma, he relied on athleticism. He never really went to. Baker Mayfield had a better understanding of the offense and where everybody was supposed to be than he did. He was just an athlete. And then he went to USC. If he was the generational talent, USC would have won They won 7 games before without him, and they won 7 games.
He won a Heisman at USC.
He won
best player in college.
He was not the best player. Eric Crouch wasn't the best player. I'm a Nebraska
USC had the 2 worst recruiting classes that they've ever had under him because of the turnaround at head coach.
Because they went by stats. They didn't go by really, because he didn't win any big games. He put up a lot of numbers, but he threw the ball 60 times a game. Well, yeah, you're going to throw for 500 yards a game when you're throwing the ball 60. So was he really a generational talent? No, he just stockpiled numbers. He was you know who he was? He was David Klingler with athleticism. I don't know if you remember.
No way. He was
the Houston quarterback who threw for all those yards, and everybody's like, "Oh, run and shoot! Oh, this guy can."
He was the K-gun offense.
And he went in the NFL. Why? Because he was stockpiling numbers.
Let me ask you a question. You call him a generational talent. Generational talent would imply he's the best of his generation, right? The top of the. You think he's the best currently? You think he's the best quarterback in last year's draft?
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah. We talked about the situation,
crazy, right? Like somebody back me up here. That's crazy talk.
No.
Just because his performance on the field doesn't equate to and the stats don't equate to him looking like the best quarterback that was drafted doesn't mean that he isn't. That's still something that's my opinion that he is, and it still needs to be that's a future decision that we'll all discuss about in the future. But
I'm with you, Wally.
But there's a reason why he was drafted number 1 overall, right? And again, we talked about the decision of the organizations to put the right people around these individuals, i.e. the 3 different quarterbacks that were taken 1 through 3. We've already discussed that Jaden Daniels has been in the organization, put him in the best situation because they hired an offensive coordinator who was also a head coach, who has experience dealing with a new college quarterback coming into the NFL. And then again, he's been in the right situation. Now, Cliff Kingsbury, for whatever reason, has had his ups and downs as a head coach and an offensive coordinator, but he's the system that has been installed with the quarterback has made him successful and made him look more successful than the number 1 overall pick.
Jose,
it's a dumpster fire over there.
You're killing me, Nate. You're killing me. It's almost like he's your son and you're trying to defend him. Because the truth is, Justin Fields did better with the same team in Chicago. Same coach,
worst team. He had a worse team.
Justin Fields was a 3-year quarterback. It took him 3 years to get that good.
Again, he was at Ohio State, not a great quarterback. Cliff, when he was with Lincoln Riley, how many Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks did Lincoln Riley have?
He's had more than 1.
He's had 3.
Yeah.
He actually had 4.
Who are they? Who are they? Name them. Who are they?
So
Kyler Murray,
Sam Bradford, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, and then Caleb Williams. So the reason he was drafted number 1 is because he came from Lincoln Riley, and Heisman winner. This dude is a quarterback guru. That's why he got he's so good. He's so good. He wasn't so good.
Those guys all had their opportunity to start, which was more than 1 year. So if we're going to say that the guy's a bad apple after less than a season,
I'm not saying he's a good quarterback. Not a good quarterback. I'm saying he's not a generational talent.
That's what I'm saying too.
He is part of the system. He's part of the system that produced numbers. Wally, back me up on that. That system produced numbers.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the argument isn't whether or not he's going to be a good quarterback. He very well may be a good quarterback. I don't know. But he's not the best quarterback of his generation. He's not the best quarterback of his draft. I mean, I might be a homer, but Drake Mason,
who is
circles around. He's got less talent around him, and he's outperformed him in almost every metric and by just watching. Anyone who just watches the game can say, hey, that guy's better than that guy. And it's not that hard to see.
I don't disagree with you, but you're wrong. He is a generational talent because until he fails and is out of the NFL, I will still say that he has the talent to be very successful in the NFL. Whether again the coaching structure, the coaches around him, they get that out of him. That's a different story. But he has the ability.
He's physically gifted.
No, he's just gifted.
Absolutely.
Like, he's got the tools. It's like but answer this question: most of your Division I quarterbacks at Power 5 conferences have the tools.
No,
do they have the mental acumen?
Fair.
Do they have the mental acumen?
Yes.
Because Jalen Milroe is the same athlete, same throws just as far, just as hard, again. But now we're looking at him once Nick Saban left and he got a different coach, his mental game was, and it resulted in 3 losses. So I'm not buying the whole generational talent. Does he have the tools? Could he be good? Yes. In the right system, yes. He's not even as good as CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud played 1 year. And CJ Stroud went to the Texans, who were a dumpster fire, walks in there, and all of a sudden they're playoff bound.
Yeah, I agree. CJ Stroud is a generational talent.
If you're a generational talent, that's what you do.
Is CJ Stroud a generational talent?
He just quite may be. He only played 1 year in college. And so you're looking at it like, wow, this guy's amazing. But his mental acumen is what gets him. And he keeps growing and growing and growing. So he
Drake May is.
Yeah, Drake May, same way. Same with Jalen Daniels left from Arizona State, went to LSU, and he did great things, won a Heisman again. But he didn't go to a quarterback guru because he was smart enough that he didn't need a quarterback guru.
Nate, can you press pause on the no, fuck it.
We can pause. We can pause for a minute.
If you are
we're comparing Caleb Williams' senior year to Dylan Gabriel's now senior year. Like they're both not playing in the same conference or against the same talent level. So like I think Dylan Gabriel is probably he's definitely a top 5 quarterback and will be on all the big boards as a top 5 quarterback when it's all said and done. And potentially he, in my opinion, should be the second quarterback taken after Shedeur Sanders. But again, we'll see when they get to the NFL. And again, to toot my own horn, we talked about the scenarios and the situations which these organizations put those prized, talented athletes in and around to develop them. And we talked about Jaden Daniels, right? Of the 3 quarterbacks this year, there is no argument that he is in a better situation than the other 2, meaning Drake May and Caleb Williams, because of the offensive coordinator. There's some rapport there.
You think Caleb Williams is in a better spot than Jaden Daniels?
No, I'm sorry. If I meant to, I think I said Jaden Daniels is in the best spot compared to Caleb Williams and Drake May. As far as the coaching around him, the head coach, obviously how they're coaching him, how he's responding to the coaching, like that is also intrinsic on him too. Like the things that he can do and the things that the way that they're coaching him, like he's receptive to it. I'm not saying that Caleb Williams isn't receptive to the head coach, the former head coach, the former OC, the OC that's now promoted to head coach. Like, I mean, it's a carousel over there.
But again, this was a team that won 7 games last year with Justin Fields, who was supposedly couldn't throw a deep ball, couldn't do this. Caleb Williams, a generational talent, supposed to be able to read defenses, make all the throws, this, that, and the other. Why did he? Everybody before this season predicted the Bears were going to make a playoff run. That was the call. He's going to come in. There was a lot of. I thought
the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. That's what they thought too.
Not to go to Super Bowl. I said just to make the playoffs, to make that leap.
The Jets, I'm saying.
I don't even.
Oh, it's all garbage.
Again, the Jets are just the Jets. They do what they do. I mean, this is Brett Favre 2.0. That's all it is. I don't even know why they even messed around with another Packers quarterback. It's all we need now is Aaron Rodgers to send some dick pics, and pardon my language.
I was gonna say that's the only part that's missing. Send some deep pics to some reporters.
That's all he needs. And guess what? And now you got Brett. that and for him to go steal money from somebody to go give to his daughter's college. And
well, see, the thing is, I'm sure Aaron Rodgers has an OnlyFans account, so
oh yeah,
those pictures are out there. Those pictures are out there, so it's legal.
So, it's just a matter, but it's one of those things you sit down and it's like, but Caleb Williams was supposed to come in and be a better quarterback than Justin Fields, and he failed. He was given the same stuff. He was given basically a better cast, the same coaching, and was supposed to come in and fit in, and he didn't. I'm sorry. It does to me make it make sense. It doesn't.
I'll make it make sense. There are not too many quarterbacks in the NFL that could walk into that situation and make it make sense and do much better than Justin Fields did last year. Like they moved off of Justin Fields for a reason. Part of it, yes, is because they're a dumpster fire and they don't know what the hell they're doing. But also there is a part of this in this world where they evaluated properly, and Caleb Williams is a better talent than Justin Fields. And this year is not going to showcase that, because we all understand that the windows are smaller, the timing's faster, there's an adjustment period. And should he be adjusted to that? Yes. Could anybody be adjusted to that after the head coach is fired, after the offensive coordinator is fired, then the offensive coordinator is promoted, the new offensive coordinator, after 1 week of coordinating, is then promoted to head coach? There's so much going on there.
That was all done to appease him. It was all done to appease him because, again, you go in and you look.
That's what people are saying, but I didn't ever hear him say anything bad about any of the coaches or say that things needed to change.
But I'm going in and looking at him saying, you have the same skill set. You're athletic like Justin Fields, but you're supposed to be smarter. You're supposed to be able to read defenses better. And guess what? You can't. You can't.
Well, he can't do it consistently, play after play. He's had some shine. Don't disparage that. Don't yuck his yum, Jose. He's had some good ass games and some good ass plays within games.
He's had some good numbers. His first
Can I ask you a question?
They won in spite of him, not because of him.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me ask you a question. Honest to goodness, if you were to move the 3 draft picks all around, right? So say Caleb Williams was on the Patriots, Drake May was on Chicago. Straight up, do you think the results would have been exactly the same?
Which results in Chicago?
Yeah, how do you think you would have done in Chicago? How do you think Drake May would have done in Chicago?
Yes, I think so, because that system was set up for not set up for success. Just like our system wasn't. You can't agree that our system, like Drake May, is just outperforming because he's doing better than the system that we had around him.
He's a beast.
So he is carrying the team if we look at it that way. He'll never say that. I hope he never does. The coaches should never say that. But he is elevating the play. As I've said previously, he's elevating the play of those around him.
There's no system around him. We've had one of the worst offensive play calling seasons I've ever seen in the history of football. It was just a terrible tale.
I also remember you saying that we had the worst offensive line and the worst defensive line, the worst roster. But then when we played the Bears, you were like, "Oh no, we're definitely the second worst." So there's a guy that was, next to the Chicago Bears, who have the worst offensive line, who has another rookie quarterback. Yes, they do, but if he doesn't have time to process what's going on in front of him, because he's pulling the ball down and he's got to run for his life, there just isn't time to find a receiver. And again, it's just the system that's around him that is the weakness. Huh?
Yeah. We're not seeing eye to eye on this issue.
Wally, he's falling on this sword, Wally.
I don't see a way we're going to see common ground on this.
He's falling on this sword. Yeah. He's dug in.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Again, and part of the reason why I will die on that sword is because, hey, when Sam Darnold came out in the draft, obviously none of us thought that after he left the Jets, went to the Panthers, we thought the guy was done, right? He goes to San Francisco, gets around one of the whiz bang offensive gurus, right? Has some sort of epiphany, or is now more mature and can be coached, allows himself to be coached, allows himself to be criticized, and he understands that this criticism is to make him better, and he goes out and makes himself better as a backup. Then he goes into Minnesota, which arguably I wouldn't say that they have more offensive talent than San Francisco did when he was there, but they have a pretty good offensive-minded head coach, and they do have one of the best receivers in the NFL on their offensive staff. And now he's a Pro Bowl quarterback, threw for 5 touchdowns last year. He could potentially be in the voting for MVP as well if they continue to do as well as he has been doing in the last few weeks. But
well, two things with Sam Darnold. One, he went to the Jets, so you knew that was going to be going. He was going downhill.
And I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 years we're saying, well, the problem was Caleb Williams went to the Bears. You know.
Again, well, here's a crazy stat. The Bears, I don't even think have a quarterback who's thrown for 4,000 yards ever.
McMahon.
No, they have not.
That is some crazy. That's a crazy, especially in this day and age.
No, McMahon never threw for 4,000.
No, and it's a crazy stat because the simple fact is, this is a passing league now.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep.
Kenny Pickett threw for 3,500 last year, and he was awful.
Yeah,
he was terrible.
Throwing to nobody over there in Pittsburgh. They didn't have anybody.
But the point being, well, George Pickens couldn't catch everything, But the point is, if Kenny Pickett can do that, no, come on. I mean, again, I'm of the John Elway, Eli Manning theory that when you're getting drafted, especially as a quarterback, your legacy matters. And you say, I'm not going there. Eli Manning the Super Bowl with the Chargers because they are a team that finds a ways to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they find ways to lose. Marty Schottenheimer, like that poor dude, he probably went to his grave going, what the hell did I have to do? Like, there's no fucking way we should have fumbled. There's no way you get a pick and all you have to do is fall down. And no, I'm going to keep running, fumble. New England gets the ball back and goes back, scores, and wins. What are the odds of that? Like, what, you know what I mean?
Pretty good if you're the Jets.
Yeah, well, or the Chargers. And again, I'm a guy when Eli Manning said, I'm not going to the Chargers. I agreed with it. When John Elway said, I'm not going to the Colts. I agreed with it. I agree with the quarterback saying, I would rather sit out than go to this dumpster fire and ruin my legacy. Because Phillip Rivers went to Chargers. And Phillip Rivers had good years in San Diego.
He did.
Phillip Rivers was very good.
Other than making babies, he was a pretty good quarterback.
It's a
he makes a lot of babies.
But
he couldn't get over the hump. They just found ways to lose. And, again, think about if Phillip Rivers would have fell to Pittsburgh and Ben Roethlisberger goes to San Diego. Phillip Rivers may be sitting there getting ready to put on his Hall of Fame jacket with some rings on because Ben fell into a great spot.
Yeah.
So, you sit down and you look, it's like, especially if I'm a quarterback, I'm just like, no, that's not going to happen. No, it's just sorry. I would look at the team and go, Arizona Cardinals, no thanks. Jets, no thanks.
I mean that is what Deion Sanders and Shedeur Sanders are probably going to do.
Oh yeah,
and
I think that's all about that.
I think it's going to in this draft. It's probably going to be just like the Eli Phillips Rivers, where it's one is swapping with another pick, and they're exchanging some more assets as well. But
do you think there's a chance that the top pick say that about the Patriots?
In what aspect?
Travis Hunter at 3 says, I'm not signing with you, Patriots. Don't draft me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think so.
Isn't that disgusting how far we've fallen?
Is that what?
Do we have a conversation of one of the top players in the NFL draft might not want to play for the Patriots organization?
Well, I think Travis. Honestly, I think Travis Hunter's position will be dictated by what side of the ball he wants to play on.
Hunter did
If
say
he wants to play both.
he'd love to catch passes.
Well, let's say he wants to play both, but a team wants to draft him as a wide receiver and only wants him to play as a wide. Like, I mean, who knows? But that could be his dilemma, and the reason why he says that I'm not going to. I don't want to play for the Giants because they said they only want me to play cornerback. I don't know why you would.
Today, I'm saying Hunter today said I would love to catch touchdown passes from Drake May.
Yeah, I hope he said that. That'd be awesome.
Well,
I
there was also.
say this. Go ahead.
This makes sense.
No. Wally, go ahead. Sorry.
Him dropping to 3 makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, who has the worst record in the Patriots right now?
The Raiders and the Giants. That's it.
Both of whom desperately need quarterbacks. I don't think they're going to draft a wide receiver / cornerback who people are saying isn't the top in either position, which I think is bullshit. I think he showed both offensively and defensively at a high level in college that he can perform it and should be able to. And I think teams should seek out the ability to play both sides of the ball. Did Ohtani teach you nothing in baseball? He's the best player in baseball. He's talking about generational talent. He's a full 5, 6 all-time great generational talent. And if you can get a guy that can perform at a high level on both sides of the ball, and he has, and he will continue to. Like, you look at his numbers statistically, like it's top 3 in huge statistical categories on both sides of the ball. Like, why wouldn't you want a guy like that to play? It doesn't make any sense. And I think that he may not say I won't go to a certain team, but I think he will say, if you won't play me on both sides of the ball, I will not play for you. I see a very real scenario where that is a stipulation he says.
I wouldn't be surprised if he commits to one side before that. And because there's more money as a wide receiver and because he's super talented, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if he says that like he goes to the combine and he's only going to do wide receiver drills. He only wants to be a wide receiver. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. But
you want to make a bet on it? You want to bet that? You want to go that double or nothing bet?
No, I didn't say I didn't say anything about betting, and I bet my life, and I bet anything. I'm saying I believe that he may make that decision just based off of money, because when we talk about Shohei Ohtani and doing both sides, that's a little different. It's a slower game. It takes it takes a lot of focus to be a pitcher in general, and then to hit like he does and play it anyway. But playing both sides of the ball on defense and offense, it's an entirely different game depending on your body size and composition. And if you're durable enough, like that's the problem. And he hasn't had a lot of injuries at Colorado, but again, once you get up into the pro level, now everybody's probably about at least 20 pounds heavier, a few inches taller, a lot faster than you. So again, the durability issue would be my concern as far as playing him on both sides of the ball, especially wanting him to be very dependent on as a shutdown corner, and then also a deep threat, an everyday down receiver.
I'm with Wally. I think he holds out because there's only been 2 guys who were considered just superior athletes. I shouldn't say superior, that were looked at as like these athletes that like they could do whatever they want. And that was Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. And they could just, and so Travis Hunter, while it's not multi-sport, he's going to be in one sport, both sides of the ball, and that's marketable. He could market that. There's money to be made, off of the way Bo made money off cross trainers, this, that, and the other. He could go that route. He could be the next, multi-position player that come out and make money. He could do that. I think he's going to want to do that. And he's a very good talent and he put up good numbers, but a lot of his numbers are against some average teams as far as receiving. I think he's shut down corner. I'm not a Deion Sanders. I will tell you that Deion Sanders to me is probably not even top 5 corner in my history, because he was great on the deep ball, but he wasn't really great on, anybody who could run good routes. That's why Jerry Rice ate him alive. That's
I bet he's your best quarterback that played wide receiver.
Yeah. I mean,
he's probably the only one. He's got to be the only one. Whatever other quarterback in your top five played wide receiver?
But here's the thing: Deion Sanders' receiving numbers weren't great. He was a great return man.
Yeah,
but so was Darryl. But so was Darryl Green. The difference between Darryl Green and
Darryl Green was great.
The difference between Darryl Green and Deion Sanders was style. Deion Sanders would take an interception or a punt return back, and he was style and profile the whole way. Darryl Green would just run it in, score, put the ball down, go back to the bench, sit down, and act like it was nothing. That was the difference. The most impressive thing I've seen Darryl Green do was when he ran Eric Dickerson down. Dickerson had like a 15, 20-yard lead. He ran him down like nothing. The dude was running a 4.29, 4.3 when he was in his 40s. But Darryl Green was so quiet. He didn't, he was quiet. He was humble. There was just no highlights of him high stepping and doing all that crazy stuff. Deion was a showman. He understood. I am selling my product. And that's how he made his money. That's how he made his name. He went to the 49ers when they were on the cusp of winning a Super Bowl. Was he the change? Was he made the difference? Honestly, he should have got called for pass interference at the end, but he didn't. They went and won. Then he goes to Dallas, who had already been a 2-time Super Bowl champion. Was he really changing their fortunes? I mean, Larry Brown was the MVP, and he was sitting there accidentally catching touchdown passes from interceptions from Neil O'Donnell. I mean,
yeah, your boy, man. Your boy.
I mean, honestly, Deion Sanders gave up the only touchdown pass against the Steelers.
Now, the problem with shutdown corners is you can't really measure there by statistics because they don't get thrown to, right? Like, he's avoided in large part. So his numbers are going to be deflated because they just don't throw at him a lot.
Yeah. But against the great ones, they did throw at him. When Jerry Rice was out there, he got thrown at. Randy Moss, he got thrown at. When the great ones, he got thrown at. Now, he fared well. But, again, he was good. But was he better than Darryl Green? Was he better than Rod Woodson? Even in his generation, there was guys because Rod Woodson could tackle, Rod Woodson could blitz, and he was getting sacks. Rod Woodson was bringing pick sixes back and returning kicks as well. Same with Darryl Green. The difference was Deion had style. It was like the commercial with the Michael Vick experience. Everybody loved Michael Vick because he was exciting. He was fun. Was he a great quarterback? No. Was Deion the best cornerback out there? No, but he was fun because when he got the ball in his hand, you knew it was going to be a show. It wasn't going to be a simple grab the ball, run as fast as I can, score. It was going to be I'm going to high step, I'm going to stutter, I'm going to shake, I'm going to hold the ball and palm the ball, and I'm going to do all this crazy stuff.
That's not.
It was a show. He was styled. He was very stylish, and he was a great corner. But again, Ty Law was pretty good. But he wasn't stylish. You forget about him because he wasn't stylish. He wasn't out there, when he got his picks, he wasn't out there high stepping, doing all this crazy stuff. It was get the pick, run it back, do what I can, and then go to the bench. Deion was high stepping on the sideline. He was, he turned to the camera and started talking to it.
He's a Hall of Fame cornerback and a Hall of Fame returner. Like, legitimately two positions that he's a Hall of Famer. One bus at the Hall of Fame, but he's definitely there for those two reasons.
He was a really good Hall of Famer. Defensive back was really good again, but was he better than Darryl Green, or was it just more style? Was he better than Rod Woodson? When the All-Decade team came out, Rod Woodson and Darryl Green were ahead of him. That's crazy.
I don't disagree. Well, I don't. I think that they're definitely Deion is above them because of his return skills, because of his receiving skills, as well as
Rod Woodson at
cornerback specifically. No,
but both those guys also return kicks for touchdowns. That's why they were ahead of him on the All-Decade team, because they had the same skill set. They just didn't have the style. I mean, he got a girl slap fight with Andre Rison. That's what I remember of him.
The first time that they were pulling chains, I heard.
And so it was. I mean, he was a great player, and he definitely, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a corner and as a kick returner. But was he the best of his generation? It could be argued. it could be argued, and that's my thing. Sit down. Mel Blount was, the greatest of his generation. He considered one of the best, and they had to make rules to stop him because he basically manhandling people. But I mean, you go down and look. I mean, there's a lot of great guys, but Deion just had more style. And Shedeur Sanders.
It was style and flashy and loud, and that's
Yeah.
I mean that's what gets nowadays. That's
yeah, and
that's good for social media, clickbait, all that stuff.
He would have been.
That's why we need to be loud and proud and flashy. We need to start wearing turnover chains. Like you guys need to get some jewelry. Come on here with some bling. Talk about whiz bang things.
Chet has a scarf. That might be as close as we come.
Hey,
it's
a great scarf.
I'm too old for all right.
So, well, I mean,
what's next?
You're not too old for that. You're not too old for that. One final comment on Bill Belichick, and I think I'm gonna use a conspiracy theory, or just put on my Nostradamus hat, and I think that he's going to spend a couple years at college. He's going to be planning and coaching some of the best athletes, planning against to defend and play against, and also play with, scheme with some of the best talent in the nation. And then from there, he's going to take what he knows about those players that are all now at the NFL level, and he'll take that knowledge to the NFL level, and then he's going to use that to his advantage when he gets to the NFL level. Not only when he's facing that opponent, but he'll also see the landscape of the NFL, figure out what job is a good job based off of the players that he's played against and coached for on the field, and then determine what situation is the best situation for him. And then he'll find a spot in the NFL in the next couple of years to get back, or I should say, dethrone Don Shula and his coaching record, and he'll be back coaching in the NFL soon.
I hope you're right. But I just don't see teams investing in a 75-year-old coach, however old he'll be in 2 years. Is that 75, 76? Boy, oh boy, I don't know that teams are going to want to invest long-term in a head coach that's 75 years old.
I feel like if things keep going the way that they are in the NFL, where they're so quick to turn things over. And if you don't have the right person in place, of course things aren't going to be turned over in the first year to 2 years, right? It's an instant coffee league now. Like they want everything now. They, as in the NFL owners, like they're all very prideful. They're bringing in these coaches thinking they're making the right decision, and also thinking that because they're a failure or not successful in that first year, like they made a bad decision and they're ready to move off on it, instead of doubling down on their investment, so to speak, and like, hey, I'm not losing money. I'm just not winning football games. I want to win football games. What do I need to do? It's not fire the head coach. It's allow the head coach to install all the player personnel that he has. And again, I go back to our situation where you got $40 million on the salary cap that you're not using. So that in itself is something that the ownership group is not wanting or allowing the coaches to do, to put the best product on the field. That doesn't always mean that the highest payroll is the best team, but on paper they sure look pretty good, and they would look good. They would look $40 million better than the roster that you fielded at the beginning of the year, right? So if you're using all the assets available to you, by all means, judge the outcome on the field week by week, but there shouldn't be a quick to fire somebody. You didn't hire them to fire them. Although that's the irony of being a head coach, right? The only way you're leaving, 90% of the coaches, the only way they leave is when they get fired.
So Wally, I got a question for you. You think anybody you think Bill Belichick does the John Gruden thing? Tony Dungy had the Bucs all built up, ready to go. They were one play away from the Super Bowl. Somehow, somebody convinced them that, hey, let's John Gruden's better than Tony Dungy, and he walked in and won a Super Bowl. You think Belichick's like, hey, maybe I can Gruden this thing, get an easy Super Bowl, get a shot at another Super Bowl, and
I think he could.
Yeah, could he? Yes, I think he could. Will he? I mean, that's kind of a unicorn situation, right? Like, I don't yes, I see potential that could be, but boy, those situations don't come along very often, and it doesn't happen a lot.
Now ask yourself this: McVay out in Buffalo, good team, great quarterback, so close.
Yeah.
They keep falling short. Could you see that? Was it McVay? I forget. No, not McVay. Whatever the guy's name is in Buffalo.
McDermott.
There you go.
McDermott, yeah.
He's so close, but he keeps falling short, and for some odd reason, can you see Buffalo firing him and saying, "Hey, let's bring Bill Belichick in and see if we can Gruden this thing"?
Yeah.
Yes. I could see that. See that. I don't think it's more likely than not. Like, that's what, a 5 or 10% chance, maybe 2 to 3% chance. Like, I'd love to see it. I kind of like Buffalo, if I'm being honest. I'd like to see them win something.
Yeah, me too. I just feel like they're such a good team.
They are.
But they just find, like, 13 seconds. You go into this terrible defensive scheme and allow Mahomes to come down and get a field goal and then force you, into overtime. It's things like that that Bill Belichick would have never allowed to happen. He schemes for those situations. And so if you're a Buffalo fan, do you say, do we sell our soul to Bill Belichick to make this run with this small window that we're going to have left with Josh Allen? Because Josh Allen's he's not getting any younger.
Yes.
He's taking a lot of physical pounding. And so the guy coaching him now, great coach, does a great job, hasn't competitive, but he has that Tony Dungy thing when Tony Dungy was in Tampa where you're good, but you're not great. So we're going to bring somebody else in to get us over the hump.
Jose, you had me at Belichick. I'm in. I'm all in. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. I'm now going to campaign for this to happen. I'm in. I'm all in.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's that perfect scenario, but they're still, again, they in their own minds and then in their ownership group, they think that they have everything that they need. And it's not true. Again.
But do they think that if they have another playoff collapse this year?
No. I mean, I hope that they reevaluate, right? Because, like you said, it's some of the smaller things like time clock management in the last few minutes and allowing misusing timeouts, whatever. Think of the little things that Bill Belichick is masterful at. And again, you're not on our thread, Jose, but there was a little excerpt that I sent, a clip from YouTube or Facebook, and it was Tom Brady talking about Bill Belichick. But the question was asked to Tom Brady, did you ever go into a game or have a feeling on Saturday night before a game or Monday night, Sunday night before a game where the team was just so tight and you just had to figure out a way to loosen everybody up, and you had to figure out something to say to loosen everybody up? And he's like, no, it was the exact opposite. Bill Belichick had us prepared for every scenario. He gave us all the answers to the test. We were the opposite of tight. We were loose because we had all the answers. We were comfortable going into the game knowing that we've experienced and talked about every scenario that could possibly happen, and we've been coached on it, and we're prepared. And that is the aspect that he brings to the table. So if you're in any NFL team, you hear that from the greatest of all time at the quarterback position. Why on earth would you not want that guy in the building? And why on earth would, I say, another Gruden scenario would be the Dallas Cowboys? If again, the only way that I think Bill Belichick should walk into that situation is if Jerry Jones is hands off, and Bill Belichick doesn't need to be the GM, but he just doesn't need to deal with all the BS that comes with the Dallas Cowboys and their owner having a meeting with the media after every game talking about how the game was. That's the coach's job. But that's another scenario, or a team that's ready to make the playoffs. They've done it in the past, and they need something to get them to the next level. So yeah, I think that's one. But that's a good point, Jose. I definitely, and I think through again him seeing the landscape of the NFL, getting a better picture of the talent that's going in, being drafted, that he's coached against at that college level. And I'm sure there'll be some surprise, like, oh, I really didn't think that kid was that good. So obviously he's had, and then he has an idea like, well, it's probably the coaches that developed him at that level. Like, okay, that I have a little bit more respect for that coach now. If that person's now unemployed because they weren't successful, that's somebody that he could bring on the staff. Like, I think overall he's like, this is his like mastermind plan, like gain some knowledge on the younger kids before they get in the NFL, have a better picture snapshot when he gets back into the NFL, a 2 or 3 year deal. Again, the Gruden effect, like walks into a ready-made team scenario, and he takes a team that's already talented at the playoff and Super Bowl level, and then he just gets them over the hump because everything's already there, and they just need a mastermind.
Yep.
I hope so. I hope so
too.
I hope it's 1 year in college, 2 years in the. It's going to take him 2 years to beat the record. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I hope he beats the shit out of that old goddamn goot. Don Shula. I hate that guy. I fucking hate Don Shula.
He can't beat Don Shula. Don Shula's they won't face each other. Don Shula's dead, isn't he?
Right, but he's going for his record.
Yes, I know.
I mean, I tell people all the time, I said, I feel for the Patriots because you had to win 19. The Dolphins had to win 17. So it's a little bit disingenuous. Oh, we were 17. Yeah. And oh, by the way, you won because you had a great defense, not because Mercury Morris or the quarterback were great.
Thank you.
That defense was amazing.
I'm not sure what you mean. All I know is that in 2007 the Super Bowl was canceled.
Hey,
fucking helmet. If the guy hadn't caught the ball,
you can live with that. It's again, Eli Manning will always be Super Bowl Sunday, that almost sack and that stupid Hail Mary that he threw up and that catch on the helmet is going to play. And for every one of you New England fans, you're going to have to live that horror over and over.
I mean, to his credit, though, he didn't just do it once. He did do it twice.
Again,
and it didn't. The second time, it didn't take a miracle catch and a whole bunch of these scenarios. So
I remember 2011. I remember that one. I just can't. I don't remember 2007.
His defense was amazing.
Yeah.
Think about those defensive linemen. They were built to beat the Patriots. They basically had 4 defensive ends on the field at all times, and they were just rushing the passer. And because of the way New England was built, they were throwing them deep balls and throwing it all over the place. That pocket was getting collapsed so fast. Tom was like, "Oh crap," and it helped that they played them that right at the end of the season, right before the playoff run, because it was like, hey, we have film exactly what they're going to do against us. Now we can adjust. So it was a perfect storm for the Giants, especially the first one.
Yeah.
And then the second one, they're like, okay, we got the blueprint. We know what we're doing. We got the defensive line, and we're going to clock manage with the running game. The best way to beat the Patriots and Tom Brady was to keep them on the sideline, especially in that window. That was if you want to beat them, you need to keep Tom sitting over there twiddling his thumbs, not on the field. So they figured out the formula and it worked, and that's why
in 2011, I agree. Damn.
Yep, they figured it out, and then Philadelphia figured out like you can let them pass for 500 yards and we'll still win.
504.
Well, but again, that defense wasn't up to par.
It wasn't.
That wasn't the New England defense that you guys were used to.
I wonder why.
Just like this year.
Tucker Butler in?
No, our best cover corner was not in the game.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. That is weird. Yeah, that's one of those prideful things. One of those things Bill Belichick probably wishes he could take back.
But we have no idea what that was about. We still have no idea what that was about.
No one knows.
Nobody knows. And
only two people in the world
that
that know.
suggests they do is bullshit. We don't know. Nobody knows.
I mean, there's a lot of. I think we reviewed some of our first episodes that aren't published. Wally, we reviewed the 10 series docuseries, 10 episode docuseries about Tom Brady and the Patriots, and like you specifically said, like you hate the way that they're portraying Bill Belichick, and I honestly think that had an effect on him getting the offers that he had the first year. Like that did not portray him in a very good light at all. It basically, and the owner Robert Kraft basically said that he didn't trust him. Like, well, shit, man, if you're gonna say that, and like this guy is not gonna get a job, like not this year. It's gonna take him a while to repair that. But yeah, I also thought that was interesting. Just thinking about that, going back to that, and like, yeah, man, like
for my son, I promised him I'd do this real fast. It's like, thank you, Nate, a bunch of shit, and then thank you, Nate, again.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Tell him is he sitting right there?
No.
Oh. I was like, what? Like, man,
what the bunch of shit in the middle?
Yeah.
I made a promise. I made a promise. I'm gonna make sure I kept it. That's all.
Well, I appreciate that. Send me a picture of it.
I will.
Send it on the group thread. So we'll move on. Sorry, we'll stop. Sorry, Jose. We'll stop talking about the Patriots and Bill Belichick. We'll let you. We'll let you talk.
You guys are. This is your realm. I'm just a visitor. And I enjoy Bill Belichick. As a Steeler fan, him and Bill Cowher, they're really good friends, and they have a lot of the same similarities. They coach the same. The mindset was the same. And I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy all the losses, the heartbreaking losses, but greatness I can acknowledge greatness. And Bill Belichick was, Chuck Noll and Bill Walsh, to me, you put them and Bill Belichick on Mount Rushmore, because those guys, Chuck Noll took a team that was just atrocious, turned him into 4-time Super Bowl champion. Bill Walsh revolutionized the NFL. Had he not gotten sick and, left the 49ers and all that, he probably would have more rings. And then you add Bill Belichick, and it's just, and Parcells maybe go up there. He's pretty good. But, for the most part, you sit down, those three guys, just amazing. Bill deserves it. And Bill did it during free agency, which is even harder because guys were leaving.
Yeah. So we'll let you break down the Steelers versus the Browns for us if you'd like, and then we'll talk about Steelers versus Philly this week.
Well, I thought the Steelers. Hold on a second. He spilled popcorn. All right. The Steelers Browns game was really interesting. I thought that they came in super focused. And then 2, they were more aggressive off the ball. They were basically came out and said, we are going to the game plan was we're going to chip Myles Garrett every play, whether it's running or passing. He got hit by 2 people every play, and it showed at the end of the game.
Got to slow him down.
Yeah, and it wore him down at the end of the game. So we just became better and better. And they thought they stuck with the run better. So, but they came out, and I don't know if Tomlin went this intentionally or what, but they came out saying, we're going to own the line, we're going to win the line, and we're going to show you that we're the best defense, and our offensive line can dominate the Browns, and they did, and that's what they came out and they did, and they looked amazing. Najee Harris and that running game looked amazing. They came out early and just punched him in the mouth, and they never recovered. And I love Jameis Winston because he's fun to watch. He's a bit of a character. He's a gunslinger. You could do worse for quarterback. He's at least going to keep you entertained. He'll throw a pick and then he'll come back, throw a touchdown. And that guy's got his memory's like 2 seconds. So, if you're Cleveland, that's a guy you want to kind of build around. But I thought Pittsburgh was like, we run the North and you guys caught us slipping. but we sent a message again. The Eagles-Steelers game is going to be interesting. I think they're going to treat him like they treat Lamar, Jalen Hurts like they treated Lamar. You're going to have to beat us with your arm. We're going to load this box, and we're going to come in and we're going to punch you in the mouth, and we're going to say, beat us with your arm. You're going to have to make AJ Brown and all these guys happy and spread that ball around, because if not, you're not beating us with your legs. And when they played the Ravens, did the same thing. They came up and they're like, our safety walked down and told Lamar, you got man coverage. What are you going to do with it? And I think they're going to do the same thing with Jalen Hurts. I think Philly's a better team than Baltimore all around, because Saquon is just dangerous out of the backfield. You got to stay with him.
He's a much better runner than Jalen Hurts, so they better stop him too.
Well, what's crazy is, Derrick Henry's a power runner, and if he gets going, which with Pittsburgh is like, we're not letting you get going, so we just hitting him. But with Saquon, he's got a little Barry Sanders in him where you can get him in the backfield. He can just give you a little move and, you made you miss and make you pay. So it's going to be interesting. He's the wild card and all that. But I think they're going to load the box and say, we're not going to – I think the Steelers are going to come out and say, we're not going to let Saquon beat us. We're not going to let Jalen Hurts beat us with their legs. He's going to have to – somebody else is going to have to beat us. And so that's how I see it. I just feel like Pittsburgh is a really good team when they play clean. But if they get a few dumb penalties and a turnover early, then we're gonna be in trouble, because that's when we fall. That's when we struggle. And so we'll see. Russell Wilson's playing well, but again, in close games, he does throw some knucklehead passes. So if we can't get that lead like we did in Cleveland, or where he can get comfortable and take those deep shots, it's going to be a lot closer, and I'm going to be biting my nails. So,
yeah, didn't Russell throw an early interception that was like just terrible, like a terrible decision? And if the defense didn't bail him out, then
and that was the thing. If they would have gave up a touchdown, it would have been like, oh crap! Now he's prone to make some bad throws. But he's got a good enough defense to cover it up. Yeah. And that's going to be the good side for him. But I think if we can rev up that running game like we did this past week, Philly's going to be in trouble. Because if they're on the sideline waiting for a while, Saquon's legs get cold and Jalen Hurts' legs get cold, because it's going to be cold up there in Pennsylvania. Guess what? You don't want to be standing on the sideline long. You want to stay warm. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a close game. We'll see.
So the odds are Philly is a 5.5 point favorite. What do you think? You think that stands, or?
It's either going to be Philly's either going to blow us out, or it's going to be a late field goal win. Either way. And if it comes down to Boswell's money at the end, knock on wood. But I think it's going to be close. I think that 5 points, a lot of points. With the way both these teams are playing and the pridefulness of the defenses, that's a lot of points.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I think you're right. Probably it's going to be a field goal game for sure. So I don't think, as far as covering, I would pick Pittsburgh to cover the 5.5 points, but I'm not confident enough. I'm not confident enough that they'll win outright.
Yeah, I mean, I won't say they'll win outright, but they should cover that 5-point spread. If it was a 3-point spread, I'd but 5, I think that's just a lot.
That's a big spread, yeah. That's kind of surprising, because I feel like this is a pretty close game.
I think so too. I think it's odd that Philly's won 9 straight games, and they have the most drama of any team that's won 9 in a row. I don't understand it. Just keep your mouth shut and keep putting your uniform on and play football. What's the big deal? And I get it, as a wide receiver, if Saquon Barkley wasn't having a historical season right now, like maybe you complain about it a little bit because you want some too. But like, damn, the dude's having a historical season.
Yeah,
like
but
you can't really. He's having it. Look at it. Take some pride in thinking that he's having that season because one, the defense is playing the pass because they know they got to stop me, and they're not paying attention to him and stopping him as well. And also, damn, I'm blocking my ass off downfield for this guy that's getting all these yards. Like, that's some fucking pride right there.
But you started this by saying Philly should shut their mouth. Have you ever known a single team from Philly to shut their mouth? Have you ever known a single person from Philly to shut their mouth? I have not personally.
Like,
they're known to be loud. They're known to be outward.
Sing it, Wally. Say it loud, Wally. I agree with you.
Yeah, right. I mean,
there's only one person on that team that's from the Philadelphia area, and that's Saquon Barkley, like the quietest guy on the team. I'm just
personality of the city.
I know. AJ Brown, I don't even know where he's from, but he's got some. He's from
Philly.
He's probably from LA. He's got some diva. He's got a lot of diva.
He's Hollywood.
Hey, you guys can thank T.O.'s diviness to help you guys win a Super Bowl because, it forced McNabb to just throw to him and ignore everybody else. Hey. And then when McNabb figured out, hey, if I spread the ball around, we might actually move the ball. He put up great numbers, but, I mean, he all cried because, we got the Super Bowl out. Well, you didn't play, dude. They did get there without you. If he'd have pulled the Tom Brady thing and said, hey, they did do it without me, I'm just going to be a good teammate, they probably would have fared better against the Pats. I wouldn't say they win. It just would have fared better.
All I heard you say was, if anyone was Tom Brady, they'd win more Super Bowls, and my team would be better, is what I heard.
Hey, all I can say, Tom Brady was humble enough to understand that Drew Bledsoe's a great quarterback.
He was.
Led us to 10 points. I led us to 0, and I'm playing in the Super Bowl starting, and he's not complaining. So if everybody would do Drew Bledsoe thing.
Cupid arrow through my heart on Drew Bledsoe. Nicely done.
Drew Bledsoe is probably one of the most underrated. And I do and I'll throw another compliment to Tom Brady. Drew Bledsoe was talking the other day, and he said, the difference between Drew Bledsoe and Tony Romo. When Tom was having success, he kept asking me questions. He kept wanting to learn. He kept wanting to. When Tony Romo took my job and got some success, he got a big diva and didn't even want to hear me. Basically told me to shut my mouth. And one has 7 Super Bowl rings and the other has none. One only has two playoff wins. So. And that goes to credit of Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. Their greatness was in their humility, that they understood, hey, we need each other to be, I need to learn from you, and you and Drew Bledsoe going, hey, he could have been like, hey, I'm a $100 million quarterback. It's that. He's like, no, you know what? This guy, he earned the right to be here. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, but I'm going to help him become the greatest ever. Yeah. And that to me, that is the beginning of the Patriot way, and it just made such a great 20-year run. It was ridiculous.
Yep. That's part of that culture that the Cubs built.
Bledsoe's the man.
Yeah, and again, Tom Brady, but how big of a person does it take that you're sitting on top, you took this guy's job, and you're still saying, hey, you know what? Yeah, I'm the starting quarterback, but I'm going to learn from you. I want you to teach me. I'm going to humble myself and ask you for your knowledge. It took both of them to make it happen. And, Tom was smart enough to know, hey, I need Drew. And Drew was great enough to go, hey, you know what? I had my window. It's closed. I'm going to kick the door down for you, help you kick the door. So that was just beautiful. I tell you, to me, I wish more kids would hear more about that kind of stuff, because then they would realize, hey, we need each other.
You hear about it in New England. The Drew Tom dynamic is one that has been much publicized, much talked about here in New England. Drew Bledsoe, in my opinion, he's a very beloved member of the New England kind of sports lore. I think he's well thought of in every regard. There have been a number of documentaries about the Patriots and their success that Drew Bledsoe's been interviewed for. He's articulate. He's intelligent. I think he comes back once a year. He sits in the booth for a little bit. He's well spoken. You will not hear me say a bad word about Drew Bledsoe. Love that man. I respect that man. I love what he's done post football in terms of his the winery and what he's been able to develop in terms of that business. He's just killing life.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
I like him. He played football. He made our team exponentially better during his time here. It just so happened he preceded the best quarterback of all time. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, hats off. And he's handled it well, right? Hats off.
Oh yeah,
I
he
love
was
that man.
class act. And what's crazy is I had to check a guy the other day because he was bad mouthing him. I said, listen, Drew Bledsoe took the Patriots to the Super Bowl, right? He's like,
Sure
what?
did.
I said, yeah. I said, had it not been for Desmond Howard having the game of his life, a punt return, a kick return, and a touchdown catch.
Mm-hmm.
It took that kind of effort to beat that Patriots team, or he would have won. I said, so don't ever. I was like, don't ever badmouth Drew Bledsoe. And oh, by the way, the dude was a class act because he could have sabotaged Brady so many times and he didn't.
Easy. Yeah.
I said so. I said I'm a Steeler fan, so I'm telling you this as a guy who New England's crushed our soul for so many times. I have the utmost respect for that guy and for Tom Brady because Tom Brady was smart enough to go, hey, this guy's got something I need, and I'm going to absorb it from him.
Yeah, I tell you, in 1996, the three of us were together at Jeff's house, our buddy Jeff, and I remember Jeff saying, I cannot believe the Patriots right now are in the Super Bowl. I mean, watch them lose, obviously, but it was so fun.
I just remember watching that AFC Championship game, and I remember Tom Brady got hurt, and I was so pissed.
Yeah.
And everybody in the room's like, "What are you talking about? Tom Brady's hurt." I'm like, "No, that means Drew Bledsoe's coming in." And
to win his job back, yeah.
And I think Seth was there. Seth Locke was there, and he like looked at me, and I said, "You know that this dude took you to the Super Bowl. So you're not bringing a scrub in. You're bringing an all-pro,
the best quarterback available right now.
Like you literally, this dude would be starting on every other team. Hell, he'd be starting with the Steelers, and he's coming in to replace Tom Brady. I was like,
I love it.
And then 10 points later, and then a block field goal and a punt return later, and we're going home packing our shit. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That 10 points was invaluable.
Goddamn Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah, and Tom Brady led the Patriots to 0 points. I told people, I said that you don't get it. Because he could have made a huge mess that Super Bowl. The media, when they asked about it, he was like, his answer was, Tom Brady's our quarterback. I'll be prepared and I'll be ready, but he's our quarterback and I support him 100% fully.
Think about this scenario.
Class.
When else in NFL history can you say in the AFC Championship, the starting quarterback of a team went down and they brought in the backup quarterback who was the greatest quarterback in their team's history? Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he at that point?
Yeah, at that point he was. Absolutely.
Who was second?
That probably happened once or twice when Steve Young was injured and Joe Montana was still there back in a month.
Yeah.
No, but
before he went to Kansas City. But that's probably
Steve Grogan.
I mean, but think about that.
Steve Grogan is
the greatest quarterback in Patriots history. And
it was crazy because everybody in the room looked at me like, and I was so mad. I was like, son of a bitch, because Brady was doing nothing. I'm like, I want Brady back. And they're like, what are you talking about? But then when the game went on, they're like, man, you were absolutely right. I was like, yeah, I was. No shit. I said, I'm not stupid. I was like, oh. But, I was glad the Patriots won because I was, I'm an AFC guy, so I always want the AFC to win. So.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So. All right, Wally, who you got in the Pittsburgh Philly game? Philly's favored by 5.5.
I'm sorry. I got Philly.
I'm not mad at you.
I think Philly's on a roll. I think they're a very good football team. I've got Jalen Hurts in a couple of my fantasy teams. No offense to Pittsburgh. But
I ain't mad at you. I got Saquon on my team, so I'm kind of screwed. I'm like, damn it. I want the Steelers to win, but I want Saquon to have 200 yards. So.
It's playoff time, baby. You got to be good. You got playoff time.
I'm a Tomlin guy. He understands what Philly has. He understands that Philly has Saquon. Like by a fucking head of a dick, I got Steelers.
Yeah.
All right.
I can't go against my boys, but I will say this: it would not surprise me if the Eagles win. It would.
Of course not.
Yeah. It would. The Eagles. Honestly, the Eagles being favored, all that stuff, and they definitely need to keep winning. Pittsburgh already knows, hey, we're not getting a number one seed, barring a huge collapse. So,
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah.
Nate, what do you got?
Oh, I got Philly. I said, I think Pittsburgh's going to cover the 5.5, but I think it's going to be like Philly by 1 or 2 points. Like it's going to come down to the wire. They're just. The only reason why I would say they're not is just because of all the drama that they're going through right now, which is something that they shouldn't be going through. But I think they're still good for a 1 or 2 point victory. What's up, buddy? Oh, he can't hear us.
What's up, buddy?
So we'll move on and we'll talk about the Patriots. Patriots had a bye week last week, so they had an entire week to prepare, an entire week to get ready for the Arizona Cardinals. I think is it in Arizona?
Yep.
Yeah, so they travel to Arizona, play in the Dome. I'm looking forward to seeing how Drake May looks after. Again, I think our offense has been with the first 3 possessions, we've been very successful. Those scripted plays, like we're doing the right things on offense. Our problem
can't adapt.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they adapt to a certain level. They can't outscore the opponent because the defense isn't well prepared. The defense isn't doing anything to stop the opponent. So
we're poorly coached.
Yeah,
poorly coached. So, he's gone. Covington's gone. Next is gone.
I mean, I hope so. Bring in the next whiz band defensive coordinator. I don't know.
Hey guys, I'm gonna step away and take care of him for a little bit. So
yeah, you're fine.
Bye.
We got you.
Thanks for having me.
Holidays, Jose.
Hey, happy
holidays. We'll see you, man.
Let me know when you're getting back on again.
Yeah, right. Thanks for coming on. We'll see you later, Jose.
All right, bye.
I love Jose.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's a good dude.
He is.
So, how's a guy like you make friends with a guy like that? It just blows my mind.
No sense. Like, Nate, what the fuck?
Boy, he outclasses you.
He does. I mean, it's his age. It's his age. He's about 10 years older than us.
Is that what it is? All right.
Yeah, he's
Christ, he looks 10 years younger.
Yeah, he looks great, right? He looks great. So as far as the Patriots are concerned, again, they play Arizona.
I think they win this Sunday. I do think they win this Sunday.
I hope not. I hope they have another very close loss. I hope they play well and lose.
God damn it, Wally.
I mean, I feel the same way with Wally. Like I just want to see improvement, but I don't need to see a win on the field. I'd like to see.
Remember, the year we won the Super Bowl, that had nothing to do with planning ahead.
I'd love to see a game where, like Arizona and us just play lights out, and we it's a great game and we lose. Like that's what I want to see. Just both teams play lights out, and
guys, remember,
and we're just on the short end of that stick.
Our first Super Bowl had nothing to do with being we had a great draft pick, we planned ahead.
Yeah, we're not making the Super Bowl this year. We'll plan for that next year. That's what we're saying, Chet. We're nowhere near
the opposite. There's no planning.
We're nowhere near making the playoffs this year. So
I know.
It does us no good to draft in below 10, and we want to stay where we're at right now, and that's top 3. And again, I want to see success. I want to see improvement. Success, it doesn't mean a W. Ultimately, I mean,
agreed.
That's not what I'm after at this point in the season. And I get it, Chet. You're the only one that is actually invested in this team financially. You paid for a ticket, so 4 of them actually for the year. So I mean that's an investment. So you should want to see them win every week. But
have you guys sold the rest of your tickets?
Not yet. We got, I think, 2 more home games.
When this season's said and done, will you recoup the money you spent, or are you in the red? I mean, party bus aside.
Oh,
I was
party bus aside, we're probably.
I'm just talking just tickets.
Yeah, just tickets are probably even. Party bus, you're right.
Yeah. I know. I'm not going to qualify. I'm not going to count that.
But I would love. Plus, Jeff, party bus.
Or isn't it
I
this
love
now?
that. I love
What's
that.
that?
Isn't it this? Like you love, so you make a heart? Nope. Turn your thumbs down. You got to make a heart, man. See how that looks like a heart? Anyway. All right. So the Patriots are 6-point underdogs. So I think that the Patriots are going to cover that. And Arizona probably wins by, I'd like to see them win by 1 or 2. But what do you think, Chip?
Patriots are going to win this game because they want to show. It reminds me of, like, I don't know, 30 years ago when Drew Bledsoe came in. He was like whooping ass. In the last 4 games, it was like we got something. So in my mind, that's what I'm looking for. Drake May, go kill it. Let him loose.
They're letting him loose. I just don't want him to win. That's all. I want him to have the game of his life. I just don't want them to win. Let's see him pass for 505 yards and not win the game, because we've seen that before. Happened. Yeah,
that's what happened.
I'd be happy with that in this instance. I was not happy.
Went against Dan Marino. They both threw for 400 yards, and then next year Willie McGinnis. So I hear you. I do.
So Wally, what do you got?
My position's clear. I want the Arizona Cardinals to win in a tight game. I'd love to see James Conner have a big game. If I'm being honest, I got him on a couple fantasy teams too that are in the playoffs. I want to see Drake May play well. I suspect there will be a couple of turnovers at inopportune times, maybe. I just don't think we're a very good team right now. I think we're going to be outcoached. I think we'll be outplayed. I think that we lose. I think we cover the spread. I think it's a tight game. We lose by a field goal, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with you. Moving on to fantasy football, man. Fantasy football. Our league, Wally. All three of us are in the playoffs. Wally, you squeaked one out last week, Wally.
Well, did you see? I started I had a dead spot in my lineup. I started Bryce. I started the guy that didn't play.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Who was it?
It was the running back for the Jets.
Braylon Edwards or Breece Hall?
Breece Hall.
Oh, he didn't play. Well,
you never do that, Wally. I know you. You never do that.
So I mean, I don't. So here's the problem. I'm on too many teams. I'm in too many leagues this year. I got 5 leagues. 3 are for money. And I innately kind of tend to focus more where I have stakes in the game and I have money on the line. So I haven't paid as much attention to ours as I have to the other 3. But I'm in the playoffs in 3 teams. Our league is one of them. My team's not performing up to snuff. But I want to talk. I'm self-centered here, so I apologize. But I made a decision last night that really fucked me over. In my $100 league, at the very last second, I don't want to say it out loud. I subbed in Matthew Stafford for. Ultimately, it was for Anthony Richardson. I have 3 quarterbacks. My quarterback situation has been bad. I got Anthony Richardson, I got Russell Wilson, and I just picked up Matthew Stafford. But this team is primarily driven by I just got healthy. I got Puka back, and I also have. This is a bad. I have Cooper Kupp on the same team, so I got 2 wide receivers on the same team who have been fucking money for the last month and have driven me into the playoffs. But at the last second, they picked up and started Matthew Stafford over Anthony Richardson, and it might have just cost me this week.
We'll see. Who knows? You made the right decision. I mean, Matthew Stafford didn't do too well, but I mean, like, I played Puka and I played Kyron Williams.
So good. Puka is so fucking good.
They both did average. They didn't do above average like they normally do. They were.
I played Isaiah.
But you gotta understand, it was a monsoon. It was raining the whole night. It was a defensive struggle. I should not have done it. I so regret it. Luckily, I've already clinched the playoffs, and this league starts. The playoffs start a week later, which is weird. They start next week, so I'm still in the playoffs. And I still think I have the best team, even though I'm going to be like the 8th seed. I think I have the best team.
And Chet and I go head to head.
Yep,
So
we do right now.
We're gonna see how that ends up. One of us
Well,
will not be moving on.
Lose.
Huh?
I hope one of you lose.
One of us will lose, but thank you for saying that, Wally.
If I'm being honest, I kind of hope Chet loses. His team's a little bit better than yours in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, my team's on a tear, man. What's his name's been carrying me actually? Kayvon
Williams?
Something? No, the wide receiver kick returner for Dallas. Like he scored like 40 points for me for like 2 weeks straight.
Imagine if you had kept the 25 points per 25 yards rule. Jesus Christ. He'd be scoring 200 points for you a week.
He would have been, yeah. More than
that week one we had was the craziest week I've ever had in fantasy football in my life. I loved every second. I kind of want to go back to that because it was so fucking amazing.
It was pretty crazy, but I mean, you can't have kick returners outscoring your damn quarterback. Like that just doesn't make any sense. Kick returners, literally, like they have not one reception or not one run.
Did you guys just see what happened? My light just fell off the ceiling and I caught it before it hit the ground.
I saw you catch it, but I thought you pulled it down. Like
that's six fucking
with
beers
your antics.
Deep.
With your
six
antics.
Fucking beers deep. I reach out with cat-like reflexes and catch a light out of the air.
Those are high noons. Settle down. Those are high noons, man. You're not drinking beer.
Chat, you're not going to let him talk about seltzers that way, are you?
No, you're getting.
Hey, Wally, we need to really have a discussion about monetizing our intelligence. You and
monetizing our intelligence?
Yes.
I got to feed my family. We shouldn't do that. I got to feed my family. I don't want to have to pay people.
But you and I, Chet, you're kind of on the same level. You just don't really participate as much. But you and I, Wally, in our pigskin pick'em, we're both in the 80 percentile.
Yeah, you should see my work league. I'm doing even better on our work league.
Is it against the spread?
I'm in the 98th percentile in the work league.
But is it betting against the spread?
No,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I agree.
We're both in the 85th percentile. Or I'm the lower end. I'm in the 85th percentile. You're in like the 87, 90.
Steadily gaining on me.
Well, I mean, I skipped an entire week. That's the only reason why you gained traction on me.
What the fuck am I going to do with this light?
But
I got to hold it like an asshole now.
You need to get on it and continue to participate in this. And I think we need to send Jose a link to this and bring him in.
It'll have to be for next year, but I agree.
Yeah. Oh, you can't add somebody now?
You can, but we're 14 weeks in, so.
Yeah, but I'd also like to put like a $10 each week. All of us put like a $30 pool. Whoever wins gets the $30.
We could certainly do that. It would just be Venmo back and forth, but yeah, that'd be easy enough.
Well, I mean, or it would just be unfortunately, it is. Yes, it's where I win, but the $30 goes into the pizza money. Like it keeps accumulating, and then it can be. Oh no, I want to put all 30 of the dollars that I want on this specific bet, and then maybe that's how we determine it. But
I'm not betting money with you guys anymore. You don't pay your debts.
I'm Wally. You got. I need to earn it. I need to earn it. I'm giving you things to bet on, and you're winning money based off of my intelligence.
One time, Wally said, "Do not send me money." Wait,
I did. I said that multiple times. You guys just kept sending me money for bets. You guys see this cut I have on my forehead?
Yeah, I was going to ask. What happened?
Sad state of affairs, boys.
You fell asleep and landed head first on a tree?
Much worse. Wednesday night, it was stormy. It was raining. It was cold rain all day on Wednesday. And my mother-in-law picked up my kids, and Shannon and I had to go different places with the children. So we arrived at her mother's house. She arrived as I was leaving. I picked up Dory to go to one thing, and Shannon picked up Walter to go to another. And She was coming out. I was coming out. I was leaving, and she was going in. And she came running by me, and I looked at her ass, and I opened the door as I did, and it slammed myself on the forehead, and I immediately prolifically started bleeding. And like I got a little woozy because I really did a number. It was awful. And now I've got a giant straight gash in my forehead.
All because you looked at your wife's ass, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I want to encourage you to do that more often, but like
I can't concuss myself when I do it.
Well, maybe
I don't have enough brain cells left. I can't.
Just don't multitask while you're doing that. Just focus on that one.
Yep.
That one beautiful thing.
It really fucking hurt. It's gonna scar. I'm gonna have a scar on my forehead.
What kind of door was it? I mean,
my truck door. I opened the door to my car and slammed myself on the forehead. My own door.
I get it. You're like, oh, that's mine. I've done that before. Yep. That feels
several
good.
times. That looks familiar, but I want more of it.
Yeah. I was sober. I was stone cold sober too, as I always am when I drive.
Of course, yes, of course. I'm gonna toot my own horn again. Moving on, I'm gonna toot my own horn again. I talked about Sam Darnold at the beginning of the year.
Your own horn at least 3 times an episode.
Well, like you said, Wally, you guys are always pointing out when I'm wrong, so I got to point out when I'm right.
Well,
you guys aren't going to do that for me. You're not going to do that for me. So I predicted that Sam Darnold would have a Pro Bowl season, and he's doing very well for himself. The team's doing really well. He could possibly be in the MVP conversation.
He could.
Before it's all said and done. But also, since all that has happened, like what does Minnesota do with him? His contract's up at the end of the year. What do you think they should do with him?
Let him go.
You think so? Let him walk.
How old is Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold is a good question. He's probably got to be late 20s. He's not 30 yet.
Their quarterback. Here's the problem: like in the bird in the hand versus the bird, you don't know what you have in your what's the name of the kid they drafted?
JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. You don't know what you have in him yet. Like I think that you can be high on him, but you don't know for certain, right? But what you do know for certain is Sam Darnold can perform at a high level, but he's not the quarterback of the future. I think you let him go, which is crazy to say. Or maybe you sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal and then trade him. In best case scenario, you trade him after a year. I don't know.
Yeah, 2-year deal tops. 2-year deal, maybe.
But how much money do you want wrapped up in your quarterback position, right? Like what's JJ McCarthy make? I mean, he was drafted. He was mid first round, right? I mean, he slid. That's how they got him.
Well, let's say they give him something between Baker Mayfield money and Jalen Hurts money. Let's say they give him $40 million a year for 3 years. You think? Well, let's look at it this way. Also, let's look at it this way.
That'd be crazy.
You mean it'd be crazy for Sam Darnold to take that, or that's too much money?
It'd be crazy for them to do that. Like, do you think Sam Darnold makes you a contender? If you're Minnesota, does he alone make you a Super Bowl contender?
I mean, they are a contender, but that'll also. So what? Here's the thing. They have an asset. If they let him go, he's going to sign for that somewhere. Or there's somebody that will give him more than that, probably, based off of what he's done this year, I think. Yeah. And if you sign him now, the money that he's worth or his value is going to go, even if he does just as well as he's doing now, to a team, his value is going to stay the same, meaning the money on the contract. Whereas the asset that is the quarterback position is continuing to increase in price every year. So
prior to JJ McCarthy's injury, did you not hear how well he was playing and how Minnesota thought he was in the lead for the starting position? Like everything I saw suggested he was playing at a level that would have prompted him to be the starter. Yeah. And if you feel that as an organization, why would you invest $40 million in a quarterback that Like, he's good. I like him. Don't get me wrong. He's a good quarterback. But if you think J.J. McCarthy is your future, I just don't. You can spend that money on an offensive line, a defensive line. There's so many different ways you can spend $40 million against a hard cap. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, to me, it makes sense to do that. And then again, if J.J. McCarthy recovers from the injury, you give Sam Darnold another year, and you allow J.J. McCarthy to recover from that injury, and then there's an open quarterback position in Sam Darnold's second year under that contract, and then if J.J. McCarthy's ready to, dethrone Sam Darnold, then you trade that asset. Who again, now you signed him 2 years ago, right? So the money on that contract was valued at that 2 years ago, but now it looks like a bargain. Now it is a Baker Mayfield contract, truly, in the sense where it's not taxing on the cap space as much as it would be, now. Like, I don't think you let him walk. You got to figure out a way to either keep him or sign and trade. That would be awesome if they could. And there could definitely be a sign and trade because they can give him his signing bonus that doesn't count towards the cap. And then,
am I allowed to do a new topic or no?
Of course, yeah.
That was random. You're always allowed to do a new topic.
Yeah. Unless Wally wants to comment on the topic that we just were discussing before you rudely interrupted, Chet.
I understand what you're saying, Nate, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. I think it comes down to strategy, and ultimately, do you value that and hope that he continues to perform at a level? I think you have Justin Jefferson, and a really good quarterback of the future. I think if you can invest that money in other positions, it just makes more sense to me. Like, I think you're in a win now situation, and to invest that amount of money between a first round draft pick and a backup quarterback, I just feel like Minnesota would be better served to spend that money elsewhere in their roster cap. I don't disagree. I wouldn't let him leave either, but like it's a balance. Like, I don't want him to leave, but I'd like to have a great defensive end. That's the hard part.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that is the hard part. You're right. I don't think you let him out of the building, though. I think you just, you keep the commodity that you have, which is a really good starting quarterback. And
I love me some JJ. I love me some JJ.
I mean, why not sign him? And then the first quarterback that goes down, you trade his ass to that team that's willing to give you.
Can we stop for 1 second? I've been on pins and needles since Chet interjected a minute ago. I'm curious as to what our next topic is going to be.
Yeah,
I'm tingling. I'm nervous. Please, Chet.
I apologize for this, but I'm talking about the Biden clemency, at least for Kids for Cash. I have problems with that.
What a downer that topic is.
I know. That's what we do, though.
Well, speak to us like we don't know anything about it.
Oh, well, there's a judge who was crooked who literally sent kids to facilities for years. And he was paid to make sure, like, a kid who, like, I don't know, stole a piece of gum or something was sent to a facility so the facility would be funded. And eventually we figured that out, that this kid should not have been sent there for stealing a piece of gum, but the judge did it because they graded kickbacks. And Biden, who I thought had the moral high ground on Trump, just pardoned that guy.
So the facilities that these kids were being sent to, were they like facilities for at-risk kids, like to help them,
Oh yeah, sure. They started that way
with mental development and like recovery and all that, or what?
Yeah.
Or was this like a juvenile
way.
detention facility that was just like 24-hour lockdown? What were these? I don't.
So,
No,
I just pulled it up right now. He'd already been released on home confinement. So President Joe Biden this week granted clemency to the former Pennsylvania judge Michael Conahan as part of a mass commutation covering nearly 1,500 people who had been released on home confinement during the COVID pandemic. So he'd already been released. It doesn't make any sense though. Why? Like, what's the benefit to this?
I don't know. And like when you think about like the Democrats trying to say like we're better than Trump, we're smarter, we're better, we believe in justice. You see something like that, and you're like, what?
He'd nearly served the majority of. So he was sentenced in 2011 for 17 years in prison. So he'd served 13 years of his 17-year sentence.
As a judge, yeah.
Oh boy. $2 million in kickbacks he received for sending kids to detention centers. Boy, that's disgusting, huh?
Like Wally, that would have been me. That would have been me. Easy, right?
God damn it. That is disgusting.
And he pardons this guy. Like, what the like, that bothers me so much. And it makes me wonder, like, I thought Biden was better than Trump. I really
so their answer was they didn't deal in the specifics. They just instead the administration granted commutations in mass to all those who fit a broader set of parameters, touting the move as a record-setting act of mercy carried out just before the holidays. So it wasn't about the individual crimes; it was about certain other measurable parameters. Wow.
Right? It's like I'll never be a Trump fan, but Jesus Christ, like we're not.
But that's not even the worst. He pardoned his own son after saying for 4 years he wouldn't. Like that's why are you surprised he pardoned some judge when he pardoned his own son after saying for 4 years he would not do that?
It turns me away so bad because I thought Democrats were my friends. And now I'm like,
yeah, it's disappointing, isn't it?
I'm like, wait a minute, this fucking judge who did this bullshit? Because that could have been me easily, right? And now Biden's like, oh yeah,
I mean, he pardoned him because the judge was hush hush about who set him up and who helped him. So I'm sure Biden was probably involved in that.
There's no more high ground anymore. It's just a matter of how dirty you want to get. It
is. And I'm not willing to get that dirty.
Superiority.
I like that. I'm ready to get dirty, Wally.
They're all scumbags, and it's just a matter of
dirty, man.
All of them.
It lines my pockets.
It's so effing disappointing.
It is
that my politics are going to now be person by person versus party by party. I'm going to treat each person as an individual, and if I determine them to be a genuine person, I'll vote for that.
Like, I hate this idea. Like, I've already won once, like locally. I don't want to do it. It's a lot of work. But like, part of me is like, I feel like I have to, but then it hurts my family. I fucking hate it. I hate everything.
Are you talking about running for office?
Yeah, I am.
Now, what letter will come after your name if you run for office, Jeff?
It's a great question. Well, I started with selectman, and then I think it would be independent.
No, I'm talking about it would be an I, right? It would be an I.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be an independent at this point.
But most of your
2032. 2032.
That's right.
2032,
oh, yeah.
man.
Oh, my bad. I forgot.
Bowen and Constant.
Bowen and Constant.
The presidential campaign. You forgot, Wally?
I didn't forget. I was hoping he had. It's because I love him. I don't want to seem embarrassed. I'm just kidding.
You can't embarrass this guy. It's like that's like for us, like we're like B Rabbit, man. We've been through. You can say whatever you want. I'm a piece of white trash. So I say it proudly. Like You can say whatever you want about me.
Do you guys remember
I'll laugh with you.
I don't remember why, but I had this memory of like in middle school, I went up in front of the whole school and I said something like, I don't know, it was Environmental Awareness Week or some shit. But I took the opportunity because I had the microphone, and I was like, "And you get to see my beautiful face," and I got booed out of the gym. You guys remember that shit?
I've got two memories when that came up. One was you dancing in Vermont at Nate's sister's wedding at a bar where there was just us, and Nate getting offended by somebody calling you a loser and starting a fight. Like, that's my first memory. My second memory is the two of you coming out with just your vests on at senior prom, dancing to not a care in the world about what anyone else thought about you.
So that was me and Chet did that?
Yes, you and Chet came out with just your best. Was it? It was you, Chet.
No, it was me and Tim. It was me and Tim.
It wasn't Nate. No, it was 100% Nate. It was 100% Nate.
I can
Nate
see
came out with just the best on.
I can see that.
I don't remember. I could see myself doing it too, but I could see them. I could see the two of them not inviting me
at Greenside. At the we had it at Greenside. Yeah,
I don't remember. I don't remember that.
The golf course, Lockmere Golf Course. You guys,
I remember Lockmere.
Remember this?
I remember
Lockmere. You came out with just you took your your dress shirts off and just had your.
Yeah, I know. We had just that on. We were doing that shit.
We were the original Magic Mikes. Look at us.
I think it's a picture of it. I gotta find it. There's a picture of the two of you with just your vests on.
You gotta find that because that'd be fun. Yeah, I remember middle school, like being willing to be the wrestling heel because I watched wrestling all the time back then. So I was like, all right, I want to impress Abby Dixon. So I'll be the heel because the heels always win. So I was like, everyone gets to see my beautiful face. I was booed out of the building and I felt like I succeeded. And then some guy was like, how do you feel about making a fool out of yourself in front of the whole building? And I was like, well, they remember me, not you.
Did you and Josh Perkins do the Informer?
Oh yes! Oh my God, that was like my
remember it was like so good in front of the whole school in middle school. That was you and Nate. That was you and Josh, wasn't it?
Yeah, Josh Perkins.
Yeah, you lip synced it, right? Yeah, you lip synced.
Was it just Josh or was you and Josh?
Me and Josh, but like he was the big part of the show. Like I just did my normal thing, but then when he came out, it was like.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Good times.
You guys remember that stuff. I have no recollection of that stuff until you mentioned it. So
I can't believe the two of you don't remember you two coming. You're like, I feel like this didn't happen, which is it blows my mind because I remember it distinctly.
No, I remember very well.
I don't remember talking about episodes of the starting five either, man. So like I don't know. It's funny what jogged your memory.
Smoked a lot. Never mind. What were you saying?
I was saying we should talk about the second best team in the NBA right now.
You want to talk about
the Celtics, man? The Boston Celtics.
The second best team in the NBA.
Their record in the NBA. Their record is the second best in the league.
The second best record in the NBA.
Yes.
The second best team in the NBA is SGA's team.
I don't know who SGA is.
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would agree.
OKC. OKC is the second best team in the NBA right now.
The team with the second best record in the NBA happens to be the Boston Celtics, who I want to talk about.
Do it.
Yeah. So I mean, they're playing really well. They've won 11 of their last 13 games. I think they lost they beat Detroit and then lost the game before that. But they're 20-5 overall. They're number 3 in offense, number 9 in defense. Jason Tatum's leading them in pretty much every offense. They're leading them in scoring, rebounding, steals, and assists.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty well. And the last game was kind of a blowout, but I like the way that they had minute dispersion throughout basically everybody that was able to play in that game. You know, I think Tatum, they all played like 3 quarters and sat the entire fourth, which is great for moving forward, creating some stability in all the positions. And again, it was, Horford, Keita. Well, Horford didn't play much in the fourth, so Horford and Porzingis, I don't even know if he was playing, but they were resting. And then Keita, Tillman, Peterson, Cornette, and a bunch of other dudes. What's his name? Pritchard. Pritchard played, I think, the most minutes that game. He played 27 minutes, so they played really well. I'm happy with the way that they're playing. I don't care that they weren't in the NBA Cup. That doesn't mean anything to me.
I don't care either. The NBA Cup, that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, well, and frankly, the last week has been done without Tatum, right? Tatum's been injured.
Yeah.
I think the story of this season thus far has been twofold. Number one, the emergence of Peyton Pritchard as a legitimate NBA star. I mean, he's good. He's really good. Offensively, like he can score with almost anybody. Like the way he creates shots, the level of play he's been able to perform at, he's done really well. And number two, it's that we're still not playing up to our potential. We have not hit our peak defensively. We should be an elite defensive team. We're not playing at an elite defensive level. I think we've been playing at a slightly above average defensive level. It speaks to how good our offense is, of course. But I think we have a lot more growth to show defensively. And once we start clicking defensively, boy, oh boy, we are going to be it. Like just seeing Porzingis back and his range and his ability to draw the defense out. We are going to be a tough team to beat. I just don't see any team in the NBA that can, at 100% healthy, can compete with us over a 7-game series. We just have. There's too many. Peyton Pritchard is our 7th best player, and like he's playing at a borderline all-star level. It's crazy. I know he's not an all-star. I understand that, but he's played really, really well this year. Really, really well. And I think that he's got more growth to show. The problem is, what's he going to be next year? Oh my God, we are so good. We're so good.
They are very good, yes. And I agree with everything that you said. I think that they're not good or as good as they need to be right now on defense because of the way that they're running their rotations, and there's just a lot of different people involved. So it's the continuity of the same people on the court, especially defensively. I think but to your point, like even our core 5 is like still, I wouldn't say struggling. They're not performing up to where they need to be
100% agree.
On their defensive ability. So hopefully they reel it in, which I know that they will. It's not even the All-Star break yet. So I'm super excited to see the rest of the season.
It's been a tough week because we've only had 2 games the last 7 days.
Yeah, the NBA in particular hasn't been.
It was against the Wizards and the Pistons, or the Pistons and who else did we play?
Yeah, it was the Pistons for sure is who they played last and beat them by close to 30 points. But let's see.
Yeah, you know where I stand in the Celtics. I have committed to watching every one of the games. I want to be considered as this podcast's resident Celtics expert. I believe I've earned that title.
You have.
I'm a big fan. I've been on their bandwagon. I've been tooting their horn for quite a while now. I believe that this season's team should go down as in the discussion as one of the best teams of all time if they play up to their full potential. I do. I really do. I really feel that way strongly.
I agree with you. Again, historically, they're going to be one of the better teams because they're as far as the way that they play and the amount of 3-pointers they take a game. Yeah. Historically, they're going to be the first team that's averaged like 50 3-pointers a game, literally. Like they're on pace for that. So I think it's incredible. Like, I just hope that it's not our demise. And
Well,
it doesn't.
the problem is it can't be because Tatum and I would say Tatum and Brown certainly, but Tatum, Brown, and White go to the hole at a really high level as well. Tatum and Brown especially go to the hole at high level. So if you're going to overguard the 3-point line, you can't guard them one-on-one. You need a big man in there to back you up.
Sure.
This team is built so well, and now Peyton Pritchard, I believe, is similar in that he can get a shot up against anybody in the paint, which is crazy to say because he's only 6'1" and white, but he can get a shot up against anybody in the paint. He's shown it time and time and time again. Like, oh my God, this team is so good. I love watching them. I love watching them play.
Yeah, he's very good at creating an advantage as far as angles to the basket and getting his shot off at awkward angles. So good for him. I'm happy for him. You know where he went to college?
Where? UNC?
No, he did not go to UNC.
Where did Peyton? Don't tell me. Peyton Pritchard went to college in, I want to say like Oregon or Washington or something like that. Where was it?
It was Oregon, but I'm saying it was Oregon, but I'm gonna look it up because I think that it was. But before I 100% agree, I was thinking it was Oregon. Yep, Oregon. First round.
We're so fucking good at this. I think that we should find a trivia contest so the three of us can enter. I think we'd clean house some trivia.
I don't know, man. I remember back in high school, I used to like everybody that played in the profession, anybody. You could name anybody and I could tell you where they went to college. I could potentially tell you where they were, what state they came from in high school. I was pretty good at it, but now I've slipped a few times since then. So
you're old. You're old as shit.
Yeah, I don't
remember.
There was a gap where I couldn't.
Drew Bledsoe, where do you go to college?
Drew Bledsoe. We went to Washington State, man.
Walla Walla.
The Cougars, man. You can't even. That's the worst. You need to come up with something else. Like, where'd Gerard Mayo go?
Drew Henson.
I just asked you. Where'd Gerard Mayo go?
I don't know.
What?
I didn't claim to know where everyone went.
That's true. Yeah. Who'd you just say? Who'd you just say?
Drew Henson.
Drew Henson. Who's that? Like the quarterback for the Cowboys and Michigan.
Yep.
Yeah. He beat out Tom Brady. Almost week in and week out. It was a week to week. It was a week to week thing with those two. Like who was starting, who wasn't. Like weird.
Well played. Well done. Well done. Damn it. I'm gonna try again. Rodney Harrison.
Oh man, that's a good question. I feel like it's like San Diego State. No.
Actually,
look it up. Do you know where he went, Wally?
You might be right.
Rodney Harrison, I don't know where he went. No. God damn it. I forgot to wish Jeff a happy birthday on his birthday.
Wait, it's Jeff's birthday today?
No, it was the 8th. God damn it.
Wally,
we'd wish him a happy birthday if he came on this show. Western Illinois. That's where he went to college. That's interesting. 5th round pick.
Let's rewind for a second. Wally, your podcast. Let's say happy birthday to Jeff. Because I get that. I get that feeling.
Birthday, it was the 8th. It's the 14th. It feels disingenuous now. I'm going to reach out and apologize at a reasonable hour tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's
should we say happy birthday though?
Of course we should. That's our boy Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely should. I mean,
happy birthday, Jeff.
It's beyond. It's past his birthday. And if one of you assholes text the group text happy belated birthday to Jeff and make me look like a bigger asshole, I will never forgive you. Like then it makes it look like the only reason I'd say happy birthday is because you said something.
I won't do that as long as you put it on the group chat and say you were in our thoughts last night. We all realized that we forgot your birthday
we didn't all realize. I realized.
Well, you can say you let the group know that we forgot your birthday. I mean, say what you want, but put it in the group.
All right, I'll do that. I'll do that.
And then we can say happy birthday. We can say, oh, we're sorry for being assholes too.
Yeah, because we're kind of dicks.
We'll just say we owe him a we owe him a night out, a couple beers,
a show that's dedicated to his topic all night.
Yeah.
Like Wally, I know your birthday is January 4th, but I know that because the Lyfords were January 2nd. Nate, I want to say your birthday is November or something.
The only reason, so you're telling me right now, in our 30 years of friendships, the only reason you remember my birthday is because the Lyfords, who you haven't spoken to in a decade, his birthday is 2 days before mine. That's the only reason you remember?
Yeah. Can you say my birthday out loud?
No. I can't. March. Is it March? No.
But Nate, is yours November? In my mind, yours is November.
Nate's is December 20.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're
26th.
No, 24th.
24th. Fuck.
Fucking Christmas Eve. God damn it.
I'm actually gonna make sure that I have these in here.
You do it the other day.
Yeah, but I didn't wish it. It's almost 12:30, so I really got to get going soon. It's super late.
No, me too. But like I was just saying, like Nate, are you cursing us for not knowing your birthday?
No.
I got within 2 days of it. I knew it was either the 24th, the 20th. I didn't remember if it was the day before or the day after.
I want this on record. I know Wally's birthday. He does not know mine.